Oxygen.
Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday the 21st of September 2013. I'm your host Dan Train. Joining me today, Robert Kemp.
That would be me.
And Zachary Burgess.
I'm right next to him on the same microphone.
And I'm not.
No.
I'm on a different microphone in a different geographical location this time around.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Indeed.
Probably terrible quality or something.
Well, last time we did it was fine.
Yeah,
right?
It sounded good. Like we got
Right.
the new codec going on in TeamSpeak seemed to make things pretty nice. I just breathed into the microphone a bit too much last time, I noted. So I'm tempted to be slightly farther away.
Breathe away, or a cough button, or something. Or...
Yeah, it wasn't the coughing, it was just the occasional sound.
You're just really into it. That's all it is. It's like, hey,
Heavy
girl.
breathing is not good. You don't want that. It's never a good sign.
What? I don't know.
Unless you've been like, I don't know, doing aerobic
Running?
exercise. Yeah, exactly. Of any form. Then it's probably good. If you weren't heavily breathing, then you might want to worry that you aren't getting enough oxygen going. That'd be really creepy if you had someone who like ran a marathon and then was instantly super calm and no breathing going on at all.
It's like, yeah, I'm good. That was nothing.
Yep, done.
It's like, I could have sprinted it, but that would have been showing off. So I just casually sauntered across the finish line. Feeling pretty good. I'm gonna go walk home.
Yep, time to walk home
to Scotland.
Naturally, they live in Scotland.
After doing a London marathon, that doesn't seem like a really long way away.
Yeah.
All those hills, they just, that's the way the challenge kicks in, running a flat race.
That's true. I don't think the London Marathon has... I mean, there are sort of hills in London, but I don't think it goes around them. Does it? It's around the kind of centre, which is fairly sort of...
I suppose you have to run over a few bridges that, sort of go up and then down again.
Well, do they, though? In London, they don't. They manage to...
a little bit.
It. Yeah, I guess.
But then London Marathon isn't a true representation of London. Like, if it was a real run of London, you'd have to run down the steps of the tube station and then sort of somehow run down an escalator and then come up the other side. That would be a much cooler race.
That'd be awesome. If they shut down, like...
And then everyone would die.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be ridiculous. You could, skate down like in James Bond or something.
Yeah. You can get the advantage by avoiding all the little signs in the middle of the escalators that say, do not slide down this.
That was really dumb in James Bond. They got the in Skyfall, they got the right tube line for kind of where they were going and from where they were coming from, but they used the wrong kind of trains, which I guess...
Oh.
I guess they did it.
Londoners know.
Yeah, Londoners would know instantly. But I guess they wanted, because the deep level tube line trains are the more kind of iconic look ones, I suppose, than the subsurface ones. So I guess that's why they used a deep level kind of train, even though it was on the district line or something. So fun facts.
Fun fact. Bond screwed up the underground.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They did
well
well
to train and stuff.
You did well to blow up that tunnel and get an entire train coming through it that had nobody on it except the driver, who I assumed jumped clear. Maybe it said something like "out of service" or something on the front of it.
I can't remember. Did it have one of those awkward scenes where he peers over, raises his head at the end of the crash and just has to look around, and him and Bond sort of look at each other and go, "You're right. Well, I think you're a different film."
Lots of films do that traditionally, don't they? Like Superman films.
Massive crash. One guy is perfectly fine.
Yeah. Just casually walks out of the rubble.
Looking a bit shocked, and then perhaps faints. And it's usually that guy... I don't know. He's a British actor. Has a real googly-looking face.
Googly.
I think might have been on... Was he on the Orange Film Board ads? Not sure.
Oh, those. You mean not the main guy, the American guy, but one of his stand-in?
Yeah, one of the Brit guy.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. Might have been him. But he seems to always be the train driver. I must be remembering a specific film where this happens.
This guy is like typecast as a train driver. Yeah. That's a brilliant typecasting.
Shocked dude. Fainting man.
Awesome.
Man with deep emotional trauma.
That could be a lot of parts.
I guess.
With a little asterisk, and then driving a train.
Yeah.
Deeply traumatized man driving a train. That would be in the credits. Deeply traumatized train driver or something. 2. He's always
that was the one coming the other way. That wave 2. Because that's how the tube works. You have to wave.
And there's trains that go the other way.
Well, isn't there? No, there isn't. Is there?
No, there's one track.
Occasionally.
If you're on the district line, then there are 2. So there. Because it's like a normal train line with 2 tracks next to each other for most of the length, I think.
Next week on Mr. District, we talk about the unfortunate use of the how they got the voiceover wrong on countless American programs. Mine's the gap is, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some shit we can come up with to continue this series of nonsense.
Great.
Talking about Mind the Gap now, but they do say Mind the Gap.
Yeah, but they probably say it in the wrong voice. Or, they probably don't have the actual voiceover lady.
I don't know, probably if you're already making some kind of film or program or whatever which involves filming in a tube line, you probably have them have super signed off with National London Transport Authority or whatever, and they probably give you all the right assets and everything. Maybe in case you need to do that kind of thing. Because they don't want their brand misrepresented.
Well, depends if they have access to their own assets. Whoever wrote the software, something probably didn't just hand over a ton of WAV files. Maybe they probably the guys
protected, isn't it?
Yeah,
and copyrighted and stuff, so that you can't misuse it. The woman who does the main announcements got in trouble once for doing some spoof ones.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, I think so. I found that I was the other day. I think they update those, every 10 years or something. The announcements and stuff.
You need to change it to a more appropriate accent. It's you can't have posh lady anymore. No, it has to be done in London.
London. Well, they should have like BBC newsreaders have the occasional Welsh one or whatever, and just mix it up constantly. So and different trains could have different accents. That'd be amazing. You're like, oh, this train is West Country.
No, each stop has an accent. So it's but it's read in the normal voice up till the stop comes up. So it sounds really crazy. A bit like when they replace the names of people in cartoons when they're making a joke about it. Denver Broncos. I hear the president's going to be there and his wife, Hillary. It could be that. You are now approaching Cockburn. Cockfosters.
Cockfosters. That's the whiskey, isn't it?
Cockfosters.
What is it? Is it some drink? Is it whiskey?
I don't know. There's something called Cockburn.
I think it's whiskey. I'm not sure.
Some names called. Some dude's called Cockburn.
Well.
Probably where the whiskey comes from. There's some names called Cockburn.
There'll be some dudes called Cockfosters.
What's your name, Rob? And what's your name's name? Cockburn.
I think it's convenient that some of the funniest names are at the end of the line where they have to announce it all the time because it's where the train is going. That's why you hear Cockfosters more than any other line, because it's the end of the one end of the Piccadilly line, I think. So
this train terminates at Cockfosters.
Yeah, constantly. Indeed, so that's our random tube. Where did that come from? James Bond or something? I don't know.
No, it was you. It was all you and your district line knowledge.
It's true, though. Anyway.
District Dan.
District 9. Right.
Now stopping at Tottenham Court Road.
Is that your Yorkshire version of Tottenham Court Road?
Tottenham Court Road.
Well, that was better.
I can't think of anymore.
Shall we segue into news?
Not really a segue.
No, that's the exact opposite.
Should we just completely blank stop and move on to the
It's a hard cut of news.
Why, have you got any tube-related video game news that we can use to segue?
Train Simulator support the tube?
I don't know.
Have they ever done that?
I thought I saw something like that, but maybe they did. Or one of them did.
They might have some of the overground parts of it. I don't know if they actually have tubes, because I think I remember the train.
Are there many games that actually have the tube in general?
Presumably, that Zombie U thing had the tube, I think.
Yeah.
Was Zombie U in London?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not thinking of Hellgate?
No. Zombie U was quite prominent.
Man, if Hellgate had the tube, that'd be weird.
It's a zombie beefeater on the box of.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I remember now. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. I get Hellgate London was where this idea supposedly started.
Sort of. Not really though.
In gaming anyway. Well, surely 28 days later might have been the start of Zombies in London. But
I think a lot of things were probably the start of Zombies in London. It's been hell. And I don't think Hellgate, was that even zombies? That was more like demons, wasn't it?
Kind of, but, zombies would have been one of them.
News.
Okay. You got any news items this week? What's going on?
Well, some stuff happened.
Did it?
What's our Microsoft news for the week?
Or two. There has to be 2 bits because it's been 2 weeks.
Oh, shit. You know what? I'm not sure I have any. Well, nothing prominent, anyway.
I don't know if they said, this has always been true, so I don't know why I've heard this recently, but people are saying, for God's sake, don't stand your Xbox One vertically or you'll screw it up.
Oh, yeah, I think they put out some official notice to say,
right.
By the way, it's really not designed to go vertical.
Yep.
In fact, we don't even know if the PS4 is designed to go vertical.
No, I don't.
Or is it? No, isn't it? Oh, no, it might be, because I seem to remember seeing it pictured like that.
I'm pretty sure they were on one of the E3 video episodes of the Bombcast. When they had an actual PS4 there, I think he bought the stand.
Oh, okay.
But I can't remember that. I'm pretty sure that was a vertical stand and not just a ridiculous horizontal stand like they did.
So is it like the PS2 again, where you have to buy a little triangle wedge for $9.99?
I don't think you have to. I think it probably has one.
Well, if you want to go vertical, then you say, well,
it's a pretty flat-edged box.
Yeah,
really,
true.
Does anyone have their 360 vertical these days anyway? Don't they?
Can't say I've seen it like that for a while.
No, it used to be the thing, but no.
Well, yeah, and they always present the 360 standing upright, don't they?
Yeah.
For some reason.
And in, the presentations, the classic slim reveal, where it's inside the old Xbox.
It does look cooler standing up.
True, but I had problems with my disc, I think.
Exactly.
My one, so it's I'm just going to turn it back round, put it flat. And it fits on my entertainment centre a bit more conveniently when flat.
Yep.
Exactly. For most people it does, I'm sure.
Yeah, don't really care. I don't know can the super slim or can the slim versions of the PS3 be stood up?
I don't know, that'd be awkward with this new one, with this
sliding tray.
Well, it doesn't even have the crappy plastic new one. You just open, don't you? Just
well, yeah, that's what I meant. The sort of you have to somehow slide open the thing and then pop the disc on sideways without knocking the thing fucking over.
Although I think you could do that with the slim PS2 that I had, although you could mount it vertically and then try and do that, but it was a bit awkward.
That seems like a dumb idea.
Yeah. Well, you should see what I've got, because I've got my 360 horizontal under my desk, and it's so close to the desk that I have to I have to open the drive and then kind of slot the CD between the drive tray and the top of the desk.
What they should do for vertical consoles is make them super fancy and make it so that when you push the CD button, the tray comes out and then rotates.
Yeah.
So it rotates 90 degrees after it's come fully out.
That'd be so sweet. And then you have to clip it in or whatever.
So then you put the CD on top of it and it rotates back in.
But so ultimately cool. The best solution is not tray loaders, is like the PS3 slot loader.
Yeah, that's probably best.
Which is what they've gone for in the
or just never
2
use
new
discs.
editions anyway. Yeah, or just don't use discs. Which is the future. It's here-ish.
Although everyone really...
So Microsoft doesn't support the future. Because you can't use it vertically when you've got no discs.
That's true.
But I don't know. Because they had to make airflow... considerations.
Yeah, that
when you stood it vertically. Like apparently they made I remember them making a big deal of like when you stood the 360 up, apparently it knew and like adjusted its fans to work differently.
Right.
And Well, and the ring, it knew which way it was up, so it could adjust the ring.
Yep, always important.
Yes, you've got to get your red ring of death in the exact right orientation.
And then Sony always had the thing where you could
manually rotate the
PlayStation the PlayStation logo was on a little swivel pin.
That's awesome, though. Really, that's cool.
A little excessive.
No.
Funny.
So
I suppose. So I'm not sure if there's, apart from that, if there's really been any massive Microsoft news this week. They've had a week off. They're all on holiday.
I guess they're getting out of the way of the big news of the week. I suppose.
Well,
not
Sony's.
News,
but Sony revealed some stuff. I suppose we haven't talked about Vita TV.
No. Yeah. What's the deal? I can watch.
A Vita TV is basically a Vita that you plug into your TV instead of having in your hands.
What, like an Ouya or something?
Pretty much.
Oh, how do you control it? With a PS3 controller or something?
Yeah, apparently it is going to be compatible with the DualShock 3s and eventually DualShock 4s.
Right.
So that will be how you control it. But what is more interesting, I suppose, is what's the compatibility going to be like? Obviously, for some Vita games and a lot of the indie sort of Vita games, that's probably not going to be a problem because they've probably not been designed with the touchscreen and rear touch in mind.
No.
But for those that have, and that's an essential feature, well, they're probably just not going to work until they decide to patch them.
Well, for the PS4 controller, you at least have one touchscreen. So you're halfway there.
I guess, but it wouldn't be very accurate because you're not touching a screen. But
yeah, but when does what do they even use those goddamn touchscreens for on the Vita? It's just most of the time it's just a button.
Well, kinda, yeah. Little Big Planet made a big deal of it, didn't it? Where so you could touch the background to push things forward.
Yeah.
I think Uncharted did a bunch, didn't it? That weird Uncharted game.
Yeah, I don't know how that used it. There was, I don't know if it ever came out, but the Mod Nation Racers version, they used the rear touch. You could sculpt the landscape.
Yeah.
For your track using it. Weirdly, and this is the one that has been coming up a lot, well, thanks to Jeff Gerstmann, I guess, because he really didn't like that on the new Killzone Mercenaries game that reload is a double tap of the rear screen.
No, it's sprint.
Sprint, sorry. That way, yeah.
Right.
Which is a bit of a shitty control implementation to begin with.
Yeah.
So you'll be shit out of luck there until they patch that.
Can't sprint at all.
Yeah. So I think it's a pretty good move of them because it's another. Because if that's as powerful as the Vita, then most indie games are going to run absolutely fine on it. Which is unlike what the Ouya is, and it's coming in at the same price point.
Right. Well, it has to, I guess. Well, that's cool.
So it's coming in the equivalent of $100. Japan only before the end of the year. Rest of the world to be announced.
Well, they need something, seeing as Japan seems to be getting PS4 really late for some reason.
Yeah, that's the other thing. PS4 is coming out in February.
Why?
So they're missing Crimbo.
Well, maybe Crimbo isn't as important in Japan.
No, maybe.
When does the Xbox come out in Japan? Never?
I don't think they're one of the territories that they're targeting yet. Because it's never sold there, so why would they care?
They tried really hard to get Japan in when they launched the 360. And
the original Xbox. They tried massive things, didn't they? And with the 360, they tried to do it again by getting hold of Mistwalker.
It's kind of a shame
it's like, hey, we can make JRPGs. You love those, right?
And they had Blue Dragon, didn't they?
Yeah, and Lost Odyssey also came out of them, and it's.
So the thing is, it's kind of a shame because even when it failed in Japan, we got all those games in the West on the console, so that was kind of cool having.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. I was just reading an article moments ago about how TGS is quite depressing sometimes now. Like TGS as a show seems to be somewhat dying because even the big Japanese guys don't really do much there.
Yeah.
Like Konami aren't there, Nintendo aren't there.
Nintendo always had Space World, but that hasn't existed for years, has it?
No,
haven't done a Space World for a long time.
No, well, they're Nintendo are focusing on their Nintendo Direct stuff now to put news out.
That's true. That's quite fun to watch sometimes. It's okay.
I tend to just watch people summarizing them rather than the actual.
I saw that the Wind Waker has HD update has come out, I think, or it's coming out.
Oh, has it?
The reviews are out, and Eurogamer and give it a 10 or something. I don't know.
What did they give the old one?
That is a good question.
Have they thought that the old one has suddenly got better through it not being around?
I have to say, though, looking at the footage and stuff, it looks better than I thought. I thought it looked a bit weird and desaturated in the initial screenshots, but they seem to have fixed that.
Well, yeah, it was, next-gen filter, I suppose.
Yeah.
Nintendo getting to grips with it. They haven't seen it before.
Yeah, but they seem to have removed the brown or whatever, so it looks pretty nice. And
I quite liked it in all of its...
Yeah.
All its iterations. I thought it looked pretty good in all.
All its one iterations.
Well, in all of the iterations of the screenshots leading up to its launch of the HD version. There you go. How about that?
Yeah, okay. I would totally play that, of course. But there's no point getting a...
They probably haven't fixed that annoying stealth segment right at the start that stopped me from playing it.
Well, they probably haven't added the 2 missing dungeons that everyone wanted them to.
Yeah, true. Yeah. That's true. No, I don't know if they have.
I think they said they weren't going to be there quite early.
That stealth section is really long and quite annoying. You're right.
It just stopped me from wanting to play that game.
But at least they sped up the sailing and stuff.
Mm.
I think there's a few tweaks.
Although I was listening to some Smooth McGroove the other day, and he does one of the songs from Twilight Princess, like Midna's Lament, I think it's called. And it's a pretty good version of it. And like watching the footage that you had on that thing, it's like, oh yeah, the Twilight Princess was a pretty damn sweet game. I could go for a Zelda.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to, because you're going to get a Wii, and then you'll just get the one with Wind Waker, surely. Because it's basically the same price and you get a free game.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I don't necessarily have to get Wind Waker, though. If they, depending on when I get my Wii U, maybe they'll have a Smash Brothers bundle, and then then I'll just get that, and then eventually the good Zelda will come out. I
don't think Nintendo really does that sort of bundle, do they?
I don't bundle very often, no.
Because it's only when it's like a special version. Unless they do like a special Smash Brothers Wise console, where it's it's got all Smash Brothers characters pasted all over it or some shit.
Well, they have sort of bundled for Wii U, like there was the Zombie U edition, and
if that was at launch, basically.
Yeah, but they have at least shown that they're willing to bundle this time, because I don't remember the Wii having any. Maybe Mario Kart.
There's got to be a Smash Brothers bundle.
Yeah, there was the Mario Kart one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't think they bundled any. Much else.
I mean, if they were
Galaxy once,
I guess if they think that there's a lot of people waiting for Smash Brothers, they theoretically could do like a fairly ridiculous Smash Brothers bundle where it's like the console and like 4 goddamn controllers because you're going to need them.
That would be pretty great. That would be pretty great.
Well, you've already got the Wiimotes. You can only
connect one. None of Ron's Wiimotes are Plus, so they won't work anyway.
No, okay. None of my. That was the disadvantage of being in the Wii early.
Yeah,
is that none of them are Motion Plus.
Right. Okay. Can you still buy Motion Plus as a?
Oh yeah, they're still available.
Or do you have to buy the built-in?
You can buy the separate thing, and
cool.
They probably don't actively produce it, but I've seen it around. But
right. Okay. Still stock around.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so Vita TV, that thing exists. I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a good move.
Sure.
They announced fairly recently that it's also going to be when Gaikai streaming comes, Vita TV is going to support that. Because why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So that will be there too. Apparently, I'm trying to think how that thing works. It's kind of weird because it actually has like a cartridge slot on it. So if you're using the Vita games that come on a physical media, you can do it, and it has a certain amount of onboard storage, although not a lot for like putting save games on. So it still suffers from the same problems of Vita. That if you want to, oh no, am I getting confused? I might be getting confused with the new Vita Slim. Or the new revision.
That one has crackle memory.
Yeah, it has like 1 gig built on, so you don't really have enough space for a game download, really.
Is this where now's the time to buy a Vita because you have to get the old stock with the AMOLED screen? And
pretty much. If you're at all interested in the Vita and on the direction it's going now, is probably the time to get an old one. And, fuck the new one. And the colours are all weird. It's like, the colour range for the iPhone 5C is all kind of pastel-y and a bit girly, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
It's the Vita lineup is the same. It's the same sort of, like, girly colour schemes.
Like the pastel colours.
Yeah.
It's kind of been the same on, like, do you remember the iPad Mini had those colours? It's basically...
Well, yeah, and even the covers for the iPad are kind of that way inclined, aren't they? The sort of magnetic
true,
cover things.
Yeah, that's true. I don't mind though that color range. It's a little, but I see what you mean.
I'm not sure I'd want one of those colors. It's like I got the blue one because they basically didn't have a nice white or black one when I needed one.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like
kind of like a surfy blue, like a.
I think they did have a black actually, but it was one of the black leather ones, which is crazy expensive.
That's the trouble. I saw there are some new official Apple cases for the iPhone 5S. Like leather ones, expensive ones, but it's nice that there's official ones. I would probably get that if I had 5. It didn't say whether they're compatible with the 5, but I think the 5 and 5S are the exact same shape. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly the same.
They would be compatible.
I think it's exactly the same as the jump from 4 to 4S and 3 to 3GS, that they're pretty much interchangeable.
Because I've never used a case with my iPhone ever, but that aluminium really does get dings in it. I've never seen a Note 5 that's been used that hasn't had scratches on it. But we'll see what they do. I'm waiting. I just got a new 12-month SIM-only contract thing so that I can carry on using my current phone without having to buy a new one.
Oh, so you're on the 4S, aren't you? So
yeah, I'm on 4S, so it's not so bad.
It'll probably last you another year easy. As I say, my 4 is coming to the end of its tether. Yeah. It's not so great anymore. And I pretty much nearly bricked it when iOS 7 dropped.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook status. I had a problem with a previous update, like 6 or whatever, 6.1 or something, where I thought for a moment it had bricked it, but managed to recover it. Yeah,
the iTunes restored it. It just got stuck during the last phase of the install. Yeah. So I had to restore it, and that's actually done it a world of good, actually, like doing a proper restore and treating it as a new iPhone. So I haven't restored any backup or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
I just said, I'm going to treat this as a brand new phone. And it's solved a number of the problems I had with it, because my calendar wouldn't sync anymore, because if I turned on too many options, I'd get hundreds and hundreds of references of the same person's birthday, which then, if I left it and didn't notice, would just fill all the space on the phone.
Oh, no.
It was awful. It was just an endless sync issue. That seems to have gone away, so that's good. And it is running a little bit more responsively, even if it is running iOS 7, which, according to test results, runs slower.
Yeah, it does seem a tiny bit slower. Although it's hard to tell sometimes whether it's actually slower or whether they've just I think
a lot of it is yeah, exactly that. A lot of it is that it takes a little while to do the swoosh now before the app even gets control, or the thing you're trying to do even kicks in. I've seen it on a 5 and a 5S, and they both seem sorry, not a 5S, a 4S, and even then they both seem a lot more sprightly with it than my crusty 4 does.
Yeah.
It's some things jerk about quite awkwardly.
Yeah, I suppose that's news, isn't it? iOS 7.
Yeah, iOS 7. I mean, on the whole, I think it works quite well on the phone. I'm not so sure about the iPad variant.
Right.
It's like some of the new design decisions just look really dull on the big screen.
Yeah. I can understand that, because
especially the folders. The folders just end up look like a big grey slab after the glass effect has been applied to them. I think that glass effect is a bit too much blur.
It is too much blur.
They should have perhaps done more of an aero type look.
Because it doesn't seem to matter what background you put on. The glass kind of dock is always like too light or too much.
Yeah, that giant bar at the bottom looks really cack on an iPad, but yeah. So it's a bit of a shame. But on the phone, I think it's a definite improvement. On the iPad, I probably would have preferred the old interface. I don't know.
Right,
There are some things that just don't work quite so nicely. And you can glitch it out in some places.
Yeah.
Like, not exactly...
Yeah,
not like breaking bugs. I haven't found anything that causes it to just jam up real bad, but you can make the animations sort of fuck up a little bit, or find where it's doing some efficiency stuff. Yeah. Like, on the iPad, you have that 4-finger scrunch. Four or 5-finger scrunch to get back to the home screen. If you do that and the folder's open, the glass doesn't properly get the translucent effect until the animation to do the scrunch finishes.
Oh.
And it's a minor thing, but it's something I wouldn't normally say that Apple would cock up on. So, it drops back, and then at the last possible moment, the color of the glass changes completely. And it's like in one frame, and you're just like, well, that's weird.
Mm.
It's like, again, tiniest thing, but it's just... this is supposed to be the slickest OS.
Yeah, I'll get there.
And it's not.
I was quite impressed by how quickly, because I went into the App Store to update my appsware after I'd done the iOS, and it said, "Oh, do you want to turn on automatic update?" And I was like, "Oh, thank God! At long last, they've figured that one out."
Yeah.
So, but I was quite pleasantly surprised how quickly a lot of the major apps that I use from the big companies like Twitter and Facebook, but even some of the smaller ones, they all seem to update to the new kind of look quite quickly.
Yeah,
I was expecting a kind of weird state where I went into an app and it would be the old style interface.
Well, this is the thing. Some of the podcasts app is still the old state.
Yeah, the podcast app is. Well, I find
so you end up with the old keyboard. You end up with the old 3D-ified stuff. It's all old style.
Oh, do you get the old keyboard in there?
Yeah, you get the old keyboard as well.
That's really weird. Well, I have to fix that. I mean, they already went to great lengths to rip out all the ridiculous skeuomorphic stuff in the podcast app, didn't they? So I'm sure they're trying to make it flat now.
Yeah.
Maybe they just. I don't think they.
I don't think they care about podcasts.
No, I have a key problem with that app. I don't know if it's
terribly slow.
Well, it's crap, but also it fails at the main thing that I want it to do is to bloody download the podcasts at night while I'm in Wi-Fi range, so I don't get to the train station or the bus stop in the morning and realise that I haven't downloaded the podcast that I wanted.
Oh, I never turned that on. I sort of had that off, but does it not do it even if you have it on?
Well, I have auto subscriptions or whatever, but it doesn't seem to care until you actually open the app and refresh it. So it's
well, I suppose it can't, can it?
Yeah, well,
it would get turned off and suspended and all that stuff. So
yeah, but that's one thing that would make me get an Android or something, because then you can schedule shit.
I still don't really understand why they decided to split podcasts out.
No,
why take it out of the main player?
Yeah, annoys me. Yeah.
It was a really dumb idea, and it's the bit that gets me is because of the if I go for sometimes half a day, and I've been listening to a podcast on my drive in to somewhere, and I drive back, the phone will have suspended the app or closed the app, and then when I get in the car and I expect it to just start playing back from where it was, no, the music starts playing, so I have to go fiddle around in the app to boot it up again because the phone's closed the app, and it's that's really dumb.
Yeah. That is really annoying.
Podcasts tend to be long. I don't know about you. I don't often listen to one in a whole 3-hour chunk.
So anyway, in summary, iOS, they changed all the look and didn't fix any of the UX problems.
Yeah. There are some design things I really like. I like in the App Store, how the downloading symbols and stuff now show progress and things.
There's some things that are in the main phone and messaging app where okay, they changed the look completely, but now you can actually do sensible things like look at the timestamps of the messages so you know when it was sent, and you don't have to I am often on say I've been texting you, so I'm on the conversation, and I often have the point where I now want to call you to say, oh, I'm here or I've arrived, and in the old interface you had to scroll to the top of the entire history of messages to get
the options,
the call button, and now it's just 2 taps away wherever you are, in that conversation. You don't have to
much more sensible.
Ridiculous scroll to topping. So there's definitely some nice improvements. I'm annoyed that they got rid of my favourite feature that didn't really make sense that it was there, but I loved it, which was the spotlight search for Wikipedia. Which is now gone.
Wait,
you can't even
really? Oh no! I'll tell you why that's gone. Because they put it in Siri.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to have to use Siri when I'm searching Wikipedia. Thank you very much. That's fine. I don't care. But what I've done is I discovered. Well, it was a bit confusing at first, but when you open Safari and it's got that speed dial, those favorites are those bookmarks are the bookmarks in the favorites folder. Once I worked that out, I put a Wikipedia bookmark in the favorites folder, and then that gives me a couple of taps to get to Wikipedia. But it's still
there's still that Wikipedia app. Don't forget.
Yeah, there is, but I've always liked, ever since they launched it, I've always liked Wikipedia's just general mobile interface.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
It's really nice. I mean, this does slow it down because with the Spotlight search, I could type in the search and press the Wikipedia button, and it would go straight to the right page. Whereas now I have to go to the Wikipedia homepage and load that, which might be slow if I'm on 3G or something, and then type in the search, and then so it's more requests and a bit more awkward.
Well, unless you just use the Google box and type wiki something, because the first link will pretty much be Wikipedia.
Yeah, but even then you're going through another web page.
You then don't have to find the search box on Wikipedia to type it.
Yeah, but either way, you're doing more work. So I'm a bit annoyed, but never mind. I mean, it was a bit weird that they even put that feature in. I mean,
yeah, it's strange.
Wikipedia's got nothing to do with Apple, so it was a bit like somebody just thought that would be cool, and I'm like, cheers. I
don't know if there's an API actually that lets you hook into Spotlight, because it would make sense, say, if you installed the Wikipedia app, that it could then.
Well, that would be cool. I mean, they've narrowed down the Spotlight, so you can't even search the web from that.
Oh, can you not? Oh.
No. Do you know how to get to it? Because
it's scroll up now, isn't it?
Well, you swipe down, but not from the top of the screen, from somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's like you just scroll up through your icon list, and it will pop on the top.
Yeah. Anyway, so
that's cool. I found actually that is one thing that has irritated me in general. I found the scrolling to be a bit like just general scrolling around data to be a bit weird at times, especially with lists like that can move left and right as well.
Yeah.
Like say you've got several columns of something. Hootsuite is a good example of this because you tend to have several feeds next to each other.
Yeah.
And if I'm scrolling down the list, sometimes it will get confused and think I'm trying to scroll left and right, but I'm not. I've clearly moved my finger upwards, and it will just sit there for a bit, and it's like, and then I'll at the end of my swipe, I'll just jiggle my finger a little, and it's like, no, it thinks I'm moving horizontally. That's wrong. And I found that in a number of places, and it's a bit dumb. It's like I don't know how they could have fucked that up. What was wrong with the old scrolling? So yeah, bit of a mixed bag. Still probably getting a Windows phone.
Yeah, are you looking at that? I mean,
well, yeah, I looked at it with some fervor after my phone nearly died. I was just like, shit, what am I gonna do? So I'm probably still gonna get a Lumia.
Cool. Well, who knows what Nokia will come up with now? They'll probably just carry on in the same vein.
Probably.
They're pretty nice, those phones, aren't they? So.
Yeah, good cameras. Have you seen that ridiculous 41 megapixel thing?
No.
It's insane.
Did you see? I have seen this thing where, I think the right thing is to put a nice camera on the phone, which is not Nokia doing. I mean, Apple ones are okay, but I mean, are the Nokia ones actually where lens is in the middle of the goddamn phone and not in the corner? Because that would be
pretty much.
That's a lot better. Frankly,
it's sort of like a compact, so it's not center, but
Yeah, off to one side, but that's fine. It's just the iPhone placement is. I can see
pretty
why
awkward.
From engineering perspective, it's fine, but from
fun just drifts over it periodically.
Yeah, exactly. And
but they mount it in the middle, and it's a proper Carl Zeiss lens and stuff, and
that's cool.
It's a big old unit on the 1020 as well. It's so big it actually sticks out a little bit.
Because I had seen this weird hybrid model, new concept that Sony have launched. They've launched a couple of compact camera lenses.
Yeah, someone was telling me about this.
And they have a CCD and everything. So you've got every part of the camera except for the processing and the body and everything. And then you just sort of clip it to your iPhone or your Android. I think it was the iPhone.
Why would Sony do it for the iPhone? They have their own phones.
Or for the but they.
It must be for an Xperia.
Well, no, I think they were offering it for market reasons. They wanted to offer it for lots of smartphones. I think that's why. Rather than just for their own phones.
Presumably that would need a really weird harness thing to attach.
It has a little weird clip thing, yeah, absolutely. And it looks a bit precarious to my mind. But there were two models.
Would you let go of it?
Yeah. Well, it's still stupid because you still have to carry around 2 bits of kit. I mean, you might as well. But how much pocket space do you need? I mean, you might as well carry a compact camera and a phone. But I mean, it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, might make more sense if the phone you were attaching it to was already an adequate snapping device and it's just made it better. You can't change the CCD at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is the whole, camera, effectively, apparatus, just without...
Oh, I see. It's got its own CCD and stuff on the...
Yeah, it doesn't clip onto the lens of your own and improve your own camera. It replaces the camera. I think it doesn't even physically connect. It wirelessly connects or Bluetooth.
Yeah, Bluetooth probably. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of a neat idea.
It's kind of a cool idea. Yeah. And it's got like optical zoom, obviously, the mechanical zoom. So.
But you're right. Given how that thing is probably how much that thing is probably going to cost.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be easier just to get a nice Sony compact?
I think that's pretty much what they are. Is like they've stripped out the body from a compact and like packaged it up with this wireless tech.
Hey, do you want your photos to be on photo stream in an instant? Well, now you can with the new Sony lens, fucker.
You should be in the marketing department. Come up with all the product names.
They'll probably all just end in fucker, though.
Well, if it works. I mean, Apple starts all their products with I, so if you end all your products with fucker, then you'll get a similar brand going on.
Well, much even worse, you could combine the two in Sony's new range of televisions to create the iFucker. That's what they need. That's what their virtual headset's going to be called. That rumored thing. It's the iFucker.
Exactly. Yeah.
They already used iToy. That's their problem.
Yeah.
That can't be the iToy fucker because that's something that doesn't even make any sense. What's that? Like, that would be something you'd attach to the iToy, presumably.
But then you advertise it with those crazy, like the old PSP squirrels, and it's like, and they just
fucker.
Yeah, they say it as if fucker is just like they're talking to you and calling you the fucker. Hey man, you get one of these, fucker. For real.
Dexter for PSP. I'd fuck that. It's ridiculous.
The new Sony phone fucker.
So anyway, is that the news? There must be some video games.
Play fucker?
There's probably more news.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Well, Steam are about to do some sort of announcement.
We're about to announce something, and apparently 3 of them, which means that there's only actually going to be 2 announcements.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So in about 2 days' time, it's rumored, it's thought to be Steambox related, because they've sort of hinted that it's something to do with we did Big Picture, and now we're doing something else. So chances are it will be related to couch gaming. But I suppose the more definite news is this crazy family sharing thing that they're introducing.
Oh, yes.
Not as crazy as it could be, though. That's the problem with it.
It's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy, but it's not actually the thing that everyone wanted. It's not actually the Xbox thing. It's like what the Xbox thing could have been if you'd interpreted what their stupid statement said.
I reckon this is exactly what this is exactly what I thought the Xbox thing was going to be, and that you can share your library with 10 other people.
Right.
Or is it 10 others, or
it's 10 devices total, supposedly? Which means...
Oh, I don't know. That's not how I interpreted that. I heard it as accounts, and then, those accounts are only... They then... Yeah, they munged the wording a bit, and it sounded like, because they then mentioned on devices that are only allowed by that account. Now, when they said that account, I assumed they were referring to the account of the person you were sharing it with, meaning any device that they have let through their Steam card is allowed to use it, not any device that I've let through my Steam card if I'm the one doing the sharing.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because even if it was 10 devices on the primary account, it would still be that's
still quite good. Yeah, that's still quite good.
Who the fuck uses 10 different computers to play Steam on?
Yeah. So, yeah, basically allows them to play your games as long as you're not playing them at the same time.
Which is not quite what the Xbox thing was interpreted as, because the Xbox one suggested that, one person could play simultaneously, just not the same game or something.
Yeah, and then there were all those...
And then they got rid of that. So.
Well, yeah, then there was all those post-180 caveats that came out that it was probably only going to be you can play it for an hour or something at a time. And
so is this if the person who's sharing it with you isn't playing that game, or if that person isn't playing any game, or if that person isn't even logged into Steam?
Sounds like any game. You can log in, and then once you've logged in, when you start playing a game, it just tells the other person to get the fuck out.
Really? So it's not even the same game?
No, it's not even the same game. It's any game.
They can't play anything.
Yeah, I guess there had to be some limitation somewhere.
Okay.
It would be a bit.
That's why.
It would be properly nuts, wouldn't it? Because if you're buying a game and then 10 of your mates can just have it, that would be like sharing the disc around to 10 of your mates.
Yeah, it would, and that's why everyone wanted it to be like having the Xbox one.
It would have been awesome, but there's people that, no publisher would have opted into that, surely.
They should have just done what the Xbox One was appearing they were going to do and just limited it to like one person at a time, because then that's still...
like handing a disc around.
Yeah, but it's still like handing a physical disc around. It's not like handing a physical disc and 10 copies you've burned.
Yeah, but a publisher would look at that and think, oh, hey, we could be losing 10 times our sales here. Up to, this introduces that our Steam sales could be as much as 10 times lower.
But they could be losing that anyway, because if you have a group of friends who want to play the same game, potentially they can just play 3 different games and alternate it in a circle or whatever, if they really want to get as much out of their money as they possibly can.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to introduce, because from the publisher's perspective, all it means is no money. Like, any way you look at it, it's less money for a publisher, unless the idea is that you're going to use a system like this to draw me more people into playing games in general. Well, perhaps you making Steam a more viable platform instead of a console.
Well, it has the other effects of like it's basically a much better way of making demos.
I guess, yeah.
You can just give the other person your account to trial the game for as long as they want.
Yeah.
As long as you don't want to use the account. And it lets them, like, test the full game on their system. So it has lots of actual benefits to be... It's basically a new way to have demos, which is actually quite a good idea if you want to convert people to sell.
It's kind of what Twitch is falling away now.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't let you test it on your system.
No, true. It's interesting. Again, like the Xbox thing, I don't think anyone's really going to get to the bottom of it until chair creaks.
Yeah, until that exact sound happens.
Yeah,
you don't know how much time you got, and then you'll hear that
noise. Yeah, until we finally get our hands on it and see how this actually works. See if we can share some love. And also, it is an opt-in thing.
Well, at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just a beta at the moment.
Well, so
if it goes like the cards, you mean the publisher opt-in?
Yeah, the publisher opt-in.
Well, and also it's not compatible with any other sign-in services. So any game that uses Games for Windows or any of the other various things, those won't work.
There's some logic to that. That's fine.
Well, yeah. I mean,
well, like the Ubisoft.
Yeah, the Ubisoft.
Yeah, Uplay probably won't work with it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. That and GFAL, they're the big ones. And
they're getting rid of Games for Windows Live soon, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. It's just going to be replaced with like stuff that you buy on Windows Store.
Yeah, but what's actually going to happen to all the games that use it? It's like there's an actual interface there.
There's a question. Yeah. What's gonna? Are they just going to discontinue it, or are they turning it off?
They'll patch it out of big games like GTA and
yeah, but does that mean you have to fire up? Does that mean you have to fire up your game to patch it, or is it like the patch just going to be readily available?
Well, that was always the problem with patching Games for Windows anyway. It's like you fire up a game and then Games for Windows would be like, "Fuck you, patches."
Yeah, is there going to be some service that they're going to have to keep? They're going to have to keep it running, surely.
Yeah, in some form. I'm sure.
Otherwise, your games just won't work.
I mean, it logs into a fucking Xbox Live account, basically.
Yeah, well, it's the same.
Achievements.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Huh. So, practically, from like our point of view, like I'm not going to be able to borrow games off you, Zach, am I? Because at any given time, you're going to be wanting to use your Steam account. So
unless I play like SimCity or something, the few games that aren't on Steam.
That's true. Yeah.
Or Guild Wars, or
Yeah, I mean, I guess for us, like, if it is any game, as you say, that if you're playing any game, you can't share your library. That, yeah, basically for us, it's probably we're a bit fucked unless we have like people that don't work during the middle of the day and want access to my library. Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the way it would work. It would be Zach playing our games during the...
Pretty much. Until I get I want to play Awesomenauts. Get off. Yeah. So there's that. That's kind of bonkers.
Interesting. And we hear about the Steambox or whatever the crap this week.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Probably.
2 days is the first thing.
And any guesses what the 3 things are, like roughly?
Well, one of them is a circle. Another one is a circle inside a pair of brackets, but the circle is on the left-hand side of the brackets. And the third one has a picture of a circle plus a circle.
Goodness me.
So apparently it involves circles. Steam 360. Oh.
Well, they already have their PlayStation version, I guess, sort of.
What?
PlayStation 3. Like Portal 2, where you can sign up
I
with your
guess,
Steam account.
Yeah. Hey man, Steam is going to be on Xbox One. You don't need to use Microsoft. You can use Steam.
That would be ridiculous.
But if one of those three symbols means like the Steam box, which one of those three symbols means the Steam box? The one with the brackets?
Probably, yeah. That would make sense. The circle is the power button. Coming to you this Christmas, the Steam fucker.
There we go. I think we've got it.
Okay, good.
I saw that Gaben was talking to LinuxCon or something the other day.
Yeah, that's where he previewed this announcement.
They're really trying with the Linux stuff. It is the way to go, I suppose. They just need to get all the tooling.
There's a surprisingly large amount of stuff that actually support Linux.
There is now, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere close to being... presumably they want every game on Steam.
Yeah, true.
To support it, but I mean,
yeah, the idea was still buy a PC and put Windows on it.
And not Linux.
Buy a PC and have it sit in the corner and just
never use it.
Yeah, because then it doesn't break. Pristine. Don't even take the wrapper off it.
Just keep all that plastic on there.
Wrapper? PCs don't normally get wrapped, do they?
I don't know. The cases often have like some.
Well, if your case is shiny, maybe.
Yeah, I think mine had some of that sticky film stuff on it.
Yeah, mine had plenty of that.
Did you hear that discussion on the Bombcast about the stickers and things? And two of them were saying they always leave the stickers on,
yeah.
And the other two were like, "Oh my god, what is wrong with you?"
It's fine if it used to be more important when the stickers were shit and would just leave crap all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's also fine if the sticker doesn't encroach on the actual screen space or something.
Well, yeah, so I've seen people do that with monitors and televisions and stuff, and it's like, why the fuck have you still got that over your screen? You're like losing a bit of the corner. Just where it says 1080p, fucker!
The 1080p fucker.
The 1080p fucker, yeah. Oh no, it's part of the iFucker range.
Obviously.
I've seen people with the plastic wrap still on their pick guards on their electric guitars, which I guess makes sense. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't actually impede anything, does it? Really?
No, it doesn't. No, but it's just like
magnets.
Magnets, indeed.
How the fuck do they work?
Oh, I saw a video of a pen that was made entirely with magnets. Well, not entirely, but it was little cylindrical magnets in a long line with the ballpoint pen innards through the middle, and then
I've got some little cylindrical magnets that you could probably do that with, but not enough to make a whole pen.
Yeah, but they made a whole pen,
half a pen,
and then you could play with it and stuff and take them apart and do stupid things. And of course, the cap was just more magnets that just snapped on and stuff, and you could snap on to the end to make it a stylus, and I don't know.
But then
that doesn't sound like a good idea.
That doesn't sound smart.
Well, no, they had a discussion in the comments, and apparently it's not a problem as long as they don't go near old style hard disks. It's fine.
What kind of stylus?
It's fine for iPads and things, supposedly.
I don't know.
Because flash memory is fine with magnets, and
I guess
just about everything else as well.
I don't know, just don't trust them.
Yeah, fair dues.
He said some things. Magnets.
I mean, hard disks are probably fine most of the time. I mean, the only thing that causes them is if you have an alternating magnetic field. That's what really screws you up.
Coming up new for RobCo, the physics fucker!
Oh man, competition.
RobCo, what, versus Vinco?
Yeah.
Yeah. Vandelay Industries, yeah.
So anyway.
Is there anything else interesting happening?
Well, there's a bit of news that I think we probably shouldn't talk about at any time at all, because Jesus Christ, we're 50 minutes into this podcast and we've talked about nothing.
Okay.
But there was the Ouya thing where they were doubling the funding of those Kickstarter games, and then they were like, maybe we won't let everyone do that because we're going to introduce some more conditions to that, because that was a bit of a
Oh, they had
free the games.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, they realised that it was probably a bit like open-ended, where it's like, oh look, this Kickstarter has like free backers, and they all put in 30,000 quid, so now we've got to give them 90,000 quid more. Maybe we should stop that from happening.
It's a crazy plan in the first place.
Yep, it was pretty much. But they tried to unfuck it, and they probably still haven't actually unfucked it, so we'll see what actually happens at the end of this.
Sounds like Ouya has some money then.
Only $1 million for this promotion.
Oh, right, I see. There's a limit. It wasn't a
it was like up to 250,000 on your Kickstarter.
I'm really surprised that thing even came out. I thought it was a scam at first. Obviously, they are legit, but I wouldn't buy one.
They're legit, but terrible.
Well, you thought it was like a Gizmondo.
Yeah, I thought so. Or a Phantom. Do you remember the Phantom?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I thought it was some kind of because Kickstarter was relatively new. I mean, it was post the adventure, Double Fine adventure stuff, but it was still quite
post
new.
FTL, I guess.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure.
Not quite the same as like an actual console, though.
No, but no.
I'm still not sure what they're legally required to do if you just straight up give them your money. Like, whether they're actually required to actually deliver on anything, really, apart from everyone hating them.
No, well, you're not, are you? That's the risk. That's the Kickstarter risk.
Exactly. But, I mean, there had to be one big scam at some point. That's what was my feeling. And I thought that Ouya might be it, especially given the weird tone of their initial video, some of the crap they were saying. But they did
they said a whole bunch of bullshit that they didn't achieve.
Yeah, that's true. But, yeah. I mean, it exists, so... But I didn't even buy a Wii, so I'm not going to be in the market for an Ouya, I don't think.
Well, no, you don't have a couch or a TV.
Exactly.
So, you kind of have a couch, but, you don't play games from your couch in your cell.
No, not these days. It's lucky I didn't get that big TV, otherwise I wouldn't have nowhere to put it if now I'm moving.
It depends. You could have somewhere on the ceiling to mount it.
Yeah, ceiling mounted.
Could lay in bed, and look up at the madmen.
That's not a bad idea. I should get like a giant monitor mount to go so that I've seen people do it where they have a huge TV like above their PC monitors.
Oh yes, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I guess mainly it's for video.
It's not.
And stuff,
yeah, I was about to say it's not actually normally that useful because you're craning your neck.
No, well, I wouldn't. You wouldn't. When in my case, I wouldn't be watching it when I was actually sitting at the desk. So, yeah, it would just mean you would need less horizontal space and
a new neck fucker bracket.
Yeah, you wouldn't need another corner of the room. You could just. Anyway.
I can't think of any other news that I'm sure that there has been. Did anything else come out of TGS or
not that I saw?
So there's obviously one big game that came out this week.
Yeah,
I've got news relating to numbers.
Oh yeah, news. You've got what you've been playing.
Well, no, there was kind of some news associated with this because it was and I'm surprised how little a deal was made of this. In a way, in that Rockstar don't send out review code to people that apparently gave any of their previous games less than an 8.
Right.
So, they're kind of being
reputable.
Everyone gave them ridiculous scores, I guess.
So really no one then?
There's been a few tweets flying around, I don't know.
But if that would be a real scandal if it was like a newspaper or someone serious or like a games mag.
I guess, but even so, it's the fact that it's that is pretty much the reason that they're using to filter out people. I'm sure other people have done that.
That sounds right spurious. Why would they admit that, even if it was true?
I'm not sure they did. I think it's I don't know, or would they? I think people started to put 2 and 2 together, from the sites that said, well, hey, we gave GTA 4 a 6, and so we haven't received any review code this time.
Right, okay.
Well, I think people started to put it together, but
that does seem a bit dodgy. But also, I haven't seen any major outlet that hasn't reviewed it. So I can't remember what the spread was. Obviously, it's got some ridiculous Metascore, but I mean, there must be 1 or 2.
I've seen some 8s.
Yeah, there's been some 8s. So exactly. So the numbers were, I just have thought are just interesting, just because they're so big.
Oh,
it's
the biggest entertainment launch ever.
Well, it is,
according to Take-Two.
Yeah, well, it's not just them. I mean, it's well, the budget for the game was $265 million, which is
supposedly the biggest ever for a video game.
It's the biggest for a video game, and it's also the biggest for any entertainment for any film, with it bar one. It's not Avatar. It costs more than Avatar. The most expensive film ever made is Pirates of the Caribbean 3.
Really?
Which costs marginally more than Grand Theft Auto 5. Apparently.
Oh man, I thought Avatar took that.
No, it costs more. GTA 5 costs more than Avatar.
Huh.
And
water physics.
It made $800 million on the first day and $1 billion within 3 days, which is the biggest of any film or anything, I think.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean,
how is it sold? So, I mean, have all of those been people like from Eurogamer? And have they just been buying all the copies, going, "Holy fuck, we need everyone reviewing this game"?
I don't think so. Eurogamer gave it a 9, which is much less than most outlets, I think. Considering they gave Wind Waker HD a 10, I thought that was a bit.
Well, yeah. Eurogamer are a bit. We love games, all of the games.
Yeah, well, they're usually quite harsh, aren't they? I found on a lot of things.
I'm not sure. I just don't agree with them, pretty much all the time. But
fair dues. Well, I haven't seen the game trailers. That's your favourite, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, GT's pretty good.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, just how many? I don't get. Were people really that feverish for it?
Well, apparently they've all pre-ordered it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made $800 million.
It's the thing. I don't get it because everyone. Don't get me wrong. GTA 4 is a well-liked game, but I wouldn't say it blew the world up. Even at the time, it's.
Well, I saw a lot about when it first came out. That was all that Reddit was talking about. I remember that for weeks and weeks. But there've been games since that have had a similar effect. Mainly, I would say Skyrim. And
any of the CODs.
Well, no, but they don't. They are very popular, but they don't cause this kind of look at this weird thing I found in the game. Kind of lots of posts and lots.
Well, I guess, but
they're just as popular.
Discussion doesn't cause sales.
No, but I mean, it's the discussion.
By that logic, you could say Fez is the best-selling game ever because of the crazy discussion it had after launch.
Well, that's true. That caused a lot of discussion, I suppose. But I suppose less people were playing. It's a combination, isn't it? I guess because the less people were playing Fez, but they were more vocal about it. Whereas this is a game where a lot of people.
It's just a weird thing because I'm not sure. Apart from you, I don't really know anyone that's that. Has this glossy, view of the last few GTA games. That it's just I must get this. They've all been like, yeah, it's a GTA game. It's like.
It's hard to tell because it's on the PC, but I haven't seen anyone talking about it on IRC, which is a survey of all of 20 people.
That's the thing. It's the sample size, isn't it? I don't know who it is who's playing it because you're right. Because I don't know anyone who's. Well, I know a few people who are keen on. I know quite a few people who liked Red Dead.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Red Dead is fantastic.
But
again, Red Dead, I don't expect to have created that. It may be a fantastic game, but I don't expect it to create, a sequel. I don't think we'll create this kind of fever.
No, I think there might be a sequel to Red Dead. I don't know how they do it story-wise, but
oh no, it'd be it's completely separate, assuming.
Yeah, but they could certainly justify it based on popularity and sales of the first. So, But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So shall I talk about it a bit? I've only played a few hours of it. I because it was my last week. I got it on the Tuesday. That was the release day, I guess. And then I didn't play it until yesterday, which I had off. So I played it because I had my leaving due on the Thursday, and
that should have been your leaving due. Non-stop GTA 5.
GTA party.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I had something to do on. I must have gone out.
So you've played a couple of hours. I
played
like maybe three. I played another hour today just before.
Have you got out of the tutorial? I mean, it's not actually tutorials. It's in game, in world.
If you watch like Vinny's 2-hour-long quick look.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much I'm past that stuff, but I haven't got to the heist or whatever, which is in the other quick look that I haven't watched.
Yeah, that's like I guess that is the end of the tutorial.
I saw Kippers playing some of that on Twitch.
Right. Okay. So I haven't got there. So, but I've done plenty of missions before then. So there's quite a lot going on in those first few hours. It's not they've done quite well compared to 4, which Brad was complaining about this week.
It's like, I'm glad he went back to that and then sort of went, oh yeah, you know what, this did have some problems. It's like, that's exactly how I felt starting it, and it didn't make me want to carry on. And
yeah, it had a bit of a slow start but I didn't mind because I thought the world was amazing and I was being introduced to it. And I knew from previous GTAs that they do introduce things slowly. I guess it's just there.
Yeah, I guess.
This
is the thing. I felt, and this is repetition, I suppose, but GTA 4, very impressive world, don't get me wrong, but no draw, no game. For like those first few hours, it was just not fun. And it's like, you've got to be fun to make me want to play you.
This one definitely packs in some quite dramatic stuff in the first couple of hours, which is quite cool. It starts, it literally starts in... A few games have done this, but it starts in the middle of action, which is unusual. GTA 4, you're like on a boat and you're coming in. It's got these establishing shots. Not like that in this. It's like, bam, you're like shooting and driving and all the usual stuff, and it's teaching you the controls as you go along. But it's like stuff is going down straight off, which is pretty cool. And then there's some pretty dramatic stuff like that you might have seen from trailers that happens quite, I thought, surprisingly early on in the game. Like there's a trailer where you're chasing like a boat on a trailer down a highway or something.
Oh yes, yeah. No,
so that happens quite near the start,
and that's for character reasons. Isn't it? I've heard quotes of stuff from after that, and it's like they refer to it, so I kind of assumed it was early. But...
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, but the character stuff is working really well so far. I really like the Franklin and Lamond as kind of the black characters at the start. That's how it gets started with those characters, and then so I haven't got far enough to get the third guy. So I've got Franklin and Michael so far.
Oh, so you haven't reached Trevor yet. Okay.
Yes, I haven't reached Trevor. So they're gradually introducing. But as soon as Franklin properly meets Michael, then immediately you get the ability to switch between them at will, when you're off mission, so you can kind of switch. And but I thought it might be a bit contrived how they brought these characters together because they seem quite different from the early stuff and trailers and things. But I mean, it seems to make total sense. So that's quite cool.
There are a couple of improvements that I've seen that do tick the boxes of annoyance for me. No, I mean the opposite.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean that have taken away.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be totally do you mean gameplay wise or?
Yeah. It sounds like they've taken away on the whole, no one's going to ask you to go bowling. So that's one of my biggest complaints solved.
There's none of that. Yeah.
A lot of this stuff on the side is there and can help you, but it's all completely optional. And it's like, that's much better. That's much. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was optional before, but it was irritating before.
Yeah. They're not ringing you up asking you to go bowling or any of that stuff. I mean, I think they went overboard because they just thought this is neat that we can. Well, they put the little mini games in, and they thought, this is really neat that we can have games within this world. It was kind of cool the first time you do it, but then it's like. The fact that they just made a mistake with the frequency of, or the fact.
Yeah, they may have remained cool if they were used perhaps that one time or a couple of times as part of a story thing. So, say you were going bowling and there was some important conversation going on at the time, or something like you're bowling with the boss or something, and he's telling you about an upcoming job. They could have done something cool with it rather than. But
it's become, I think it's a bit blown out of proportion, really.
I don't know.
Because you could just switch off your phone and never have to deal with it. So it was possible to remove it.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you can turn your phone on silent.
So therefore the game didn't communicate it to me badly. Game fail!
Yeah, that's one thing, actually. It's like, it always, for, and the previous ones even, they're introducing mechanics to you and it feels slow. The game feels slow at first because not much is going on because it's trying to introduce all this stuff, but it still manages to like explain stuff sometimes too quickly for you to actually absorb it, like because it pops up with a little text box, and sometimes they're very hard to read because you're doing something and it's like it's not going to tell you this again, and you know that, and you're like desperately, what's the button? What? Wait.
Yeah, what just happened? What am I doing? Yeah. They've been doing that technique since GTA 3, really.
Yeah, they have.
Still not very good.
Yeah.
And it's.
I mean, they're still doing that. It's a bit of a shame.
Like, perhaps they should just have like some way of getting back at all those help messages.
Well, it's like Guild Wars has it. Where the tips pop up on your toolbar or whatever, but then they go into an actual thing where it just has them all. So
yeah, I think maybe they go into like a brief part of the main menu that you can access, which also gives you the dialogue and stuff. I'm not sure if the tips go there. They should do, because you need to be able to review
what you
the
mean?
tips.
They have like a temporary chat log, you mean?
Yeah, it's like a chat log, so you can always check what someone's been saying or what your objective is. But yeah, actually, that would be a cool idea if they just put all those tips or all those tutorial stuff into one section of like a manual section of the game.
Yeah.
That would be cool, because that would help a lot. And then
it's really great. It's like we're reinventing the entire history of computers by like all these tips keep popping up, and then you don't have enough time to read them. Maybe they should put them in some kind of manual.
I know. That's the thing, because there is no like it's following the trend where there's like a tiny little paper thin manual. There's a big map, obviously, but there's no proper manual. And the in-game stuff. Yeah, I don't think it's quite got everything it needs to like teach you everything. But I mean, obviously, it's doing its best job of doing. I mean, I have no problems. Like, I did have to just Google though one thing that because it was easier than trying to get the game to tell me how to do it. I was taking my dog for a walk, in the game. But I couldn't figure out how to like.
You have a dog.
Yeah, I do. Okay, it's my friend's dog, but
okay.
Took my dog, Lamar's dog, Chop, for a walk and threw a ball around and stuff and trained it a bit. But then I couldn't figure out how to get him to sod off, like end the walk. As it were.
Just let the dog go.
Well, I tried getting into a car, but then my character just said, "Come on, Chop," and opened the passenger door and got him to hop in. I don't want to carry this dog around the city. So, but I eventually figured out you have to kind of target him and then with the left trigger, and then you can kind of dismiss him or stuff. But it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, so quite literally, fuck off, dog.
Yeah, it says you know the way home, but I'd already taken him to his kennel.
That's ridiculous.
So he was definitely safe.
You should just make it like the gnome in Half-Life 2 and just take that dog everywhere, on every mission.
Yeah, I don't
know.
The
dog is our wingman for every crime we commit.
Well, obviously there are some missions where you use the dog.
Well,
naturally, yeah, which is quite funny, quite cool. Yeah, so gameplay. So basics, like shooting, hasn't changed as much as I expected. It's pretty good. It's pretty easy. It's certainly a lot more.
It looks a lot more like Red Dead system.
Yeah, it's more like Red Dead than I was expecting it to be like Max Payne, but it's more like Red Dead, I would say. But it's good. I mean, you're not really. The characters still have that kind of weight of moving around, but you're not quite. Every time they improve it, so you're not quite like stumbling over shit all the time. You know, It got better from 4 to Red Dead, and then now they've got it even a bit better again.
Yeah, because Red Dead was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Sometimes you couldn't walk through a door because you had too much momentum. You kept walking from one side to the other of it. It's like, yeah, but it's fine. I like the way that I really like, ever since 4, they've kind of based, everything has felt like it's had a proper like momentum and stuff, and it's based on actual physics and then tweaked to the point where it's usable.
But so to that note, I never really got on with the cars in GTA 4. I thought the handling was a bit 70s.
Yeah, so 5's handling is altogether much snappier. I liked the handling in 4, so I'm not totally comfortable.
I sort of saw what they were going for. I just found it difficult and kind of unnecessary.
But it's still got that momentum. It's just you definitely turn a bit snappier, but sometimes that causes a bit of overcompensation going on that I didn't have in 4. You know what I mean? Because in 4 you could kind of lean around a corner and drag your weight around, and you kind of got a sense of where you were heading. Whereas
I don't know. The problem I had with 4 is that it's not necessarily that the physics were bad, because they kind of look kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it was just that it felt too easy to fuck up.
Right. Okay.
Like if you did something that wasn't just that little bit right, you could end up in a slide, or you could crash into something, and then you'd be boned. In most circumstances where you need to be driving well, you would be boned.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just seems that little bit too touchy for that kind of situation. For the kind of situations the game would put you in, it didn't feel like it was a good mix.
Yeah. Well, I found that. Because also, what's different is it's slightly twitchier, but it's like it allows you, I guess, more control, or more reactive control, and also the acceleration and general speed is definitely higher. So, because what would happen in 4 is like once you clip something and crashed, like it really, even in this fast cars, it took quite a bit of oomph to like actually get you back up to speed or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it was like, come on,
kind of fine, but you should probably have like a. For most cars, that would probably be fine. But for like the big cars, you wanted like a 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Yeah, well, they were, but it was actually quite rare to find the sort of Porsches and Lamborghini types in 4. You definitely ended up, and also in 4, there was very much a sense of at the start of the game, you started in a poor neighborhood and all the cars were shit, and then as you went to the next island or something, there was a supercar around. Whereas this one, because Michael is rich, like. And you're in LA, basically, like you can find awesome cars almost straight away.
There's no arbitrary blocks either, is there? Like Los Santos is basically open.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I haven't gone exploring. I've only just gone and done mission, and so I'm discovering the city that way. I don't know if I don't think there are any like arbitrary roadblocks like there are in previous games. I think I could just drive to the top of the map all into the countryside at this point, but I haven't done it because I'm busy playing the game. So I'm not really tempted, and because I know the story will lead me out there, and then I will come and learn the city. Because at first it's like you don't know the layout, and so you're kind of it's quite just doing the missions takes you all over the city to such a point where you start getting a feel for where everything is. You don't have to spend time, driving around trying to work out the layout and into your mind, because you'll get it naturally just from playing the game, and they'll take you.
So it's a bit more a recognizable town in general. You see things that you latch onto.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I find that. I mean, what's annoying me is that this. It looks amazing. I mean, after you get past the sort of initial, because I have it hooked up to my HD monitor, and of course, initially, because it's on this 360, it's running at 720p, and everything is upscaled or whatever. You get that initial weird blockiness compared to compared to something you've been playing at full res or whatever.
Yeah.
But once you get past that, suddenly you realize, you kind of adapt to that, because at first you go, ugh. But then almost immediately afterwards, you really, the look of everything is really well done. And there's definitely much more going on than there was in 4. Like, there's more people and more cars, and you can see further, and there's just more,
I've noted
more detail.
And the thing I've noticed is that from everything I've seen so far, the performance in general seems a lot more stable.
It's pretty stable. I've had some slowdowns, but no like, oh, it suddenly becomes soup. But sometimes, like when you're driving down a very long stretch of road where you can see a long way, and there are a lot of cars along there, sometimes the frame rate dips a bit. But I haven't had too much trouble yet.
Also, from what I've been hearing, it sounds like they've put a ridiculous amount of effort in, so the 2 versions end up being pretty similar now.
Yeah, I saw the Face-Off, Digital Foundry Face-Off. They said they were virtually the same.
It's pretty identical in both performance and look. So it's...
Yeah, I think they were recommending the PS3 version based on some kind of texture quality thing.
If it existed, I couldn't see it. It's like it was subtle, because the PS3 has historically actually been, like, for these direct comparisons, is the one that handles like texture filtering worse than the Xbox.
Yeah,
like, it's not good at. It's like, when you've got a game on bilinear filtering mode and you can see the mip-mapping levels.
Yeah.
Really clearly. The PS3 kind of has always suffered from that slightly compared to, like, I don't know, a better bit mapping technique, or even better anisotropy. that kind of stuff. And I never quite know how you're supposed to say that. Anisotropy or anisotropic or anisotropic or
anisotropic, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how you say it, but aniso maybe.
Isotropic sounds like a word, doesn't it? And then it'd be as in
it could be anisotropic. Yeah. But anyway, Xbox has always done that better than the PS3, but the PS3 has potentially been able to hold sharpness and certain details for longer, and general texture quality can be higher. Like, so when you're up close to something, it can be a bit sharper on PS3 than it can be on Xbox. But that's an incredibly minor difference, and it looks like it's just mimicking that path this time, as far as I can tell. But I don't know. For me, the PS3 version would be the one I have to get because of the mandatory install. It's like I don't have a solution for that. On
you
my
don't
Xbox.
have a that's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, go for it.
I don't have enough space. I'd have to dedicate another memory stick, pretty much just at GTA, because it's like 5 gigs, isn't it, or something it has to install?
Yeah, it's 5 gigs. It's 1 disk's worth. So
yeah, so it's pretty chunky.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that. I mean, there's been warnings around because this actually happened with 4, but no one seemed to notice. But if you installed 4 onto your hard disk, you can install any game on 360. It totally screwed it up because like the game relied on the disk streaming in order for its actual streaming of data and building the world to actually work. So for some reason, if you installed it, which theoretically should make everything a lot better and the disk I/O much faster, it actually screwed everything up, and you ended up driving down streets that didn't have textures loaded.
You see, there's a brilliant reason for that in GTA 5. I'm not sure why that would be a problem in 4, because on 4 everything was on the one disk.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Whereas in 5, it's streaming from both sources. It's streaming from your hard drive and the disk simultaneously.
That's true.
I'm nip around the city as quick as it does.
But so that same thing is true. Like you install the main disk, but if you install the second disk, the play disk, it starts screwing it up for that same reason.
Yeah, I heard that. There is a solution. You install the play disk to a different device, like a memory stick.
Yeah, apparently that makes things a bit better. But I can't really bother with that. But
no, exactly. It's a lot of effort to go for
exactly
something that's already a 5 gig install.
So in the future, are we going to have like the hilarious situation where you're just like, in order to make this game perform the best you can, you need to have the disc and then install part of it to the hard drive and then install part of it to this USB stick, and then maybe you have 2 USB ports, then do 2 of them, and then just stream 4 sources at once.
Go baby, go.
So I'm glad that there's not really much of a difference between the 2 platforms. Because, that means that I'm not missing out anything if I do decide to get a PS3 version.
I don't think.
Or, wait for the inevitable PC version, which...
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, of course. I mean, it's quite cheap. I mean, for what it is.
Really? It's like £47.
I got it for like 35 on Amazon, so...
Lucky.
Why, has it gone up?
I've not seen it for anywhere less than 47. Like, admittedly, that's like high street price.
Yeah, I thought, because the Amazon certainly are, but I'm sure a lot of I expected like supermarkets to loss lead on it. You know how they did with Harry Potter and Star Wars?
Maybe.
So
it's not like COD where they can expect you to come back next year if you're buying it on launch.
I suppose not. It'd be another 5
it'd be like 5 years, yeah.
That's true. But
I mean, it works for Tesco's with COD because they know you'll be back next year.
Yeah,
you'll be back.
Obviously, I would have paid £47 for it, but I'm quite glad I got it for 35. Obviously.
Yeah, that's a much better price. I just don't like that number. Just sounds high,
What, 47?
Yeah, even if it does fit into the that game almost certainly fits into the £1 per hour value ratio.
Oh, it will. I mean, and it'll certainly beat a lot of the freaking next gen launch titles on that front.
I heard someone mention, in relation to next gen games, someone said like someone was just talking about them, and then idly was like, is that going to be worth the $60 price tag? And I was like, wait, next gen games are surely not going to still be $60 if we're seeing 55 quid, are they?
I have seen some titles on Amazon drop slightly, so they've come down from 55 to like 50 in some cases.
Yeah.
So it does seem that they are somewhat, this £55 mark is perhaps somewhat flexible, which would be good. But, I have a confession to make.
Okay.
Despite everything I've said about GTA, I do kind of want to play it.
Well, you should definitely play it. I mean, that you play enough games that you are usually fairly happy to play stuff that you're not totally. You give stuff a try that you wouldn't.
There's normally a saving grace.
Yeah,
and it's I understood GTA 4 and I appreciated it as a game. I just felt it fell flat on some things that didn't work for me, and that just meant I couldn't carry on with the remaining 30 hours of that game, or however many I had.
I think they have. It seems like they have focused on the exact stuff that you know.
It does sound like
that irritated you, and also I like the writing is really good. I mean, it's like I think that's what Jeff, Gerstmann liked. He gave it 5 stars, but I think it's mostly because he loved the characters. I don't think he cared that it was an open world game or any of that. He just thought the story was good and the characters were good, and they're really.
Well, I think that's the trick to people I think get this wrong too often. I think that's the trick to a good open world game. Is it's fine to have an open world with all these systems that interconnect together, but ultimately the reason why you're in that world, is to experience some story most of the time. I don't know. Exactly. There's the world is a extension of the immersion.
Yeah,
and it's that's why it worked so brilliantly in Red Dead, but you put it next to Red Faction, and the open world wasn't really the selling point. The selling point of Red Faction was blowing shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the fact that it was an open world was kind of...
Well, the trouble with trouble with Red Faction was that the open world actually didn't have virtually anything in it that wasn't attached to the mission.
No, exactly. It was a fairly boring world unless you were on a task.
Yeah,
and so it didn't really add to it. It was still a pretty fun game, but that's not, and because the story was just
average,
pretty bad, honestly. But it's no Saints Row. Again, Saints Row, another fantastic example. The actual world I don't find very interesting. It's just it's a place to blow shit up, but then has this killer story attached to it. It's just.
I think I would be a bit disappointed if I came to the next game and it had basically the same world, though. That does seem a bit...
Oh, yeah, the whole Saints Row 4 thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not so sure. But apparently that's what the mobility sort of makes that a bit of a non-issue, because you're seeing the city in ways that you wouldn't have done before. And it's but I kind of agree. That does feel cheap.
So about the driving, going back to the moving around the city. Obviously, in Grand Theft Auto, you can't freaking fly; you have to drive everywhere. But they have tightened up the driving and I think certainly easier. I'm not sure I prefer it yet because I quite like the 4 driving in some ways, but I'm getting used to it. I think I'll end up liking it better probably. But you mainly in the first few hours you mainly play as Franklin, and he's got that ability for super driving or whatever, like bullet time driving or something, and you activate it on the 360. I don't know about PS3, probably the same, by clicking in both the sticks at once.
Oh, weird.
Which is kind of a weird one to do, especially.
So you're basically debilitating your ability to drive
for a moment, and then you also have to do the same to get out of it as well, because otherwise you'll just keep using.
Oh, it's a click in, click out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I kind of assumed you meant you were gonna you had to click it and hold it and go.
No.
That would be really difficult.
Yeah, that would be really hard.
Clench driving.
That would really screw you up.
Realistic, but not helpful.
Yeah, but it slows down time for getting through gaps, but it also massively increases your steering. And it seems to kind of suspend. I'm not sure what I feel about it, because I think it kind of suspends the laws of physics while you're in that mode.
I would agree. It looks like you can turn faster than would normally be physically possible.
Exactly. I think what will happen is, because you can turn 45 degrees or something, and then if it continued the momentum properly, then when you came out of it, you just rolled over because you're going so fast.
Or slide or something.
Yeah. But instead, you sort of go the way you were pointed in.
Just a game of a replay mode. Can you play back the thing and then see it as it would be at normal speed and see how stupid it looks?
I don't know.
That would be weird.
A bit like a Ridge Racer 360.
I don't know if it does. It has stunt jumps. I think you can replay those, can't you? I can't remember. Anyway, I haven't done any of those yet. So.
Can you use the car bullet time to do a barrel roll?
Probably if you hit you have air control, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Like very, very quite. I think it gets better as well as you up your stats. But you have like fine control of like attitude while you're in the air in a car. I don't know
not roll.
Not roll. No.
Okay, that's really weird.
I mean, it makes sense on a motorcycle, obviously, but in a car, it's really strange. How are you supposed to?
Really weird.
Yeah, it's pretty strange.
That's not what I expected you to say at all.
No, well, GTA 4 would never give you that, would it? It would just like, oh, yo, you're going off. Yeah. I guess that's just to prevent total disasters every time you go.
Well, yeah, maybe it's a mitigation that maybe they probably wouldn't tell you. But I was about to say maybe they wouldn't tell you about it, so you can sort of like hint at it with the stick, going, "Oh no, I want to go that way," and it would sort of land okay, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay." But the fact that there's a stat
and a tooltip.
Yeah, well, I think it's part of your driving stat rather than a specific air control stat, but still,
that's really weird.
It's a bit strange. So in general, it's like they're fixing the gameplay for people who found the driving annoying in 4 by giving you such control sometimes that it almost is not quite believable for me, which I'm not totally sure about.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to break the
actual kind of physics.
Yeah, the kind of realism thing.
But you don't see that stuff much. I mean, like,
but presumably you get actual bullet time. The other guy's stat.
Yeah. For Michael I haven't used that yet, but yeah.
So that's already. I mean, it's just because it's in a car that it seems really weird, but it's not like bullet time.
I think I would have been okay with bullet time as just a bullet time mechanic.
Yeah, just slowing it down would have been fine for me. Although it is good though, because I mean, you can like totally screw yourself, can't you? And where you're in a death slide or whatever, and this way you can like recover in this magic mode.
Yeah, what happens if you trigger it and you're already sliding? Do you just stop sliding and start going in the direction you're facing?
Not sure. I have to give that a go. I don't think it doesn't instantly happen. Like obviously everything kind of smooth.
Can you pump A like in F-Zero to just?
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, could you just basically do a right angle corner by pulling the handbrake and going into a 90-degree slide and then just tapping the time slowdown to just stop?
Oh, a bit like using the air brake in Blur.
Yeah,
that could work. I'll have to do some experiments with it actually. Because you build it up as well by playing Burnout, by like driving on the wrong side of the road and driving fast past people and stuff, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure how you build up the bullet time, probably by shooting people. Yeah. Well, that's how Max Payne works, isn't it? You get bullet time by shooting people?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, so going well. Looks really great. And that lighting stuff they went on about, but I mean, it really looks amazing when you look at sunsets and things. And they've captured the California feel like perfectly. Although I'm finding that I prefer, like, I'm much more of a New York kind of guy in general.
Oh, right, okay.
So, like, the street layout, like, I find it easier to navigate. I know Liberty City really well now, but LA has a lot of, like, very wide boulevards that have all these, like, central reservation type things. What do you call them in America? Median or something, is it? But there's a lot of wide streets that have a lot of weird little raised bits of pavement in the middle of them, and, like, 3 lanes, and 1 lane will go around. Instead of being a intersection where just 2 straight roads cross, it'll have a little.
There'll be a ramp.
There'll be a lane that goes around onto the other boulevard with a little bit of pavement, like a little corner of pavement.
I think I saw some of that on the motorways as well.
Yeah,
there's quite a bit. The laning on the motorways, you need to be a little bit more. Oh shit! I need to actually be in this lane to get off.
Exactly. So it is, it's like California, but also I find that annoying compared to like a Manhattan style street layout.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll get used to it, I'm sure. Yeah, so give it a go, and I'll have loads more to say.
Well, there was the thing that I saw that appealed as well. Like another one of those checkboxes that they've solved was the time requirements, like for when certain missions are available.
Oh yeah, they fixed that.
Yeah, they're gone. You can just turn up and it will just jump to the time that you need to be.
Not only does it jump to the time, but it gives you a cool time photography.
That's really nice. That's really nice.
So that stuff is really great.
And I like the fact that apparently, like when if you have got a long drive ahead of you, sometimes to get to a certain mission objective, you can use that time to swap to another character, which may be in the middle of something crazy.
Yeah,
you then do that, or this is the best bit, they may be in the middle of an objective you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, or sort of on the way to starting it. And it's like, oh, that's fantastic. So I can do this other thing and then perhaps jump back to Franklin or Michael or something, and they'll be nearly at my destination, and I wouldn't have had to have driven it. It's like, that sounds like a great idea.
Pretty awesome.
That's if it works out like that. I bet there's some random in that, but
I expect so. Yeah.
But I've heard people saying that it's like, oh yeah, it saves me a lot of time. Just managed to jump to the mission by going off and doing something stupid with another character for a bit. Or
You'll have to give that, yeah.
That really should have just been an actual thing you could set. Like, if you have one character that has to drive somewhere, you should actually be able to just set their sat-nav destination, and then that will make them do it while you go and do something else.
Yeah, that would be better if it was an actual... Yeah,
for all I know, that works. And they haven't told me that works, but I mean,
no. But that was why you used taxis or made everyone else drive in LA Noire. Yeah. It's like to try and avoid that.
Always use the taxis in LA Noire. Well, you were the one that used heavy use of the campsites in Red Dead because you didn't like riding around everywhere.
Oh yeah, I did in the end. It was just.
I was like, by the way, dude, there's a quick.
I didn't even know that existed until you told me. So I was riding everywhere, and it's like, yeah, you can use campsites to warp, and you're like, what? This changes everything.
Yeah.
New from Rob, firefucker. Campfucker.
Yeah, campfucker. Oh no, that's horrible. RobCo. Indeed. Right, I bet not go on forever about GTA, but I'm sure there'll be loads more to say.
I am tempted, but I've been in one of those moods where I've been looking at it going, should I? But then again, for journalism reasons,
like,
should I really... Well, yeah, it's like, should I play it before the end of the year, or should I jump to Last of Us? As that may be, would that befit the cast more?
Well, with Last of Us is going to be like someone needs to play, I suppose.
Yeah, I've got a PlayStation, so that kind of has to be me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Don't play GTA 5 because then you won't have enough time to play Last of Us.
Yeah, I think we owe it to the cast to perhaps play Last of Us.
Well, you don't have to.
No, I don't have to. I mean, we've done it in the past. We've missed out big games in big years.
Well,
but Last of Us is something.
You're a Naughty Dog fan anyway.
Yeah,
so.
No, I do want to play it.
I just think Last of Us, I would have to have another game going because it just sounds quite intense.
Sounds brutal. But that's what I mean. I can perhaps play a chapter on Last of Us and then go play some more Awesomenauts.
Naturally.
Sure, yeah.
There's always more games.
Cool. Okay. Should we move on to what you guys have been playing?
Yeah, Zach, how much have you got? Because
who went first last time?
Me, I think.
Maybe.
Is it a week for me to just tail off into the last 15 minutes? Go, I played this.
Well, what have you played? I mean, I can't remember.
All right, let's rattle them off. Let's let Dan decide what order he wants to hear them. I've got Hotline Miami. I've got Awesomenauts. A bit of Sonic Racing Transformed. Something else probably, but I can't remember.
Good list.
So that's my big three.
Things you forgot. I can't remember what I'm just trying to think of the actual important things that I've had. I mean, there's been Guild Wars because there's been updates.
Yeah.
There's been actually we both played Civ 5, so there's that to talk about. And there was some DS stuff, but that's like shorter things. Maybe we should just talk about Civ 5.
Yes, Civ 5 could be our segue.
Yeah, we'll have to have a big Civ 5 section. Yeah, if we can go in between. I want to hear about... Well, obviously, I care about Hotline Miami because I really enjoyed that. So I want to hear Rob's take on that. And then we'll do a Civ 5 switcheroo off of it.
All right. Well, yeah, because Hotline Miami is, I suppose, the big one I need to talk about, really, because, Awesomenauts is Awesomenauts. It's still awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that one out of the way quick, a bit like the Daily Dota, actually. Just, I had a bit of a bad time with it, I think, last time we were saying. I had a theory that perhaps I ranked too fast because I may have been in games with good players or something on my team.
Right.
And that I'd gone through gone up quite high in the leaderboards. And then the people it was matchmaking me with, I might not have been doing so great against because I ranked so far. So I had a big old run of shit games where I just couldn't keep up. And then that seems this last week has been pretty great. So it's been pretty good. So either I've got better or I've down leveled enough to a point where I can. But I think everyone just ends up in rank 3, on that game, which is out of 9. So that's pretty high. So I think everyone just ends up there. I don't know.
Right.
So it's But yeah, I'm still really loving that game. It did have I had a couple of moments this week where it's just like I can't help but feel I should be playing something else.
Yeah, definitely.
But I really want to play Awesomenauts, and Gnome's like, just play Awesomenauts, get out of your system.
Oh, she's enabling you.
She is, yeah. Well, I think she thinks that if I play it enough, there'll come a moment where it's like, fuck this shit.
Hasn't she seen what Team Fortress,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Basically exactly the same reaction to
Pretty
something
much.
Like when you can have a really terrible session.
In a way, Awesomenauts is worse, because I only like playing TF2 when I've got either you on or someone else online. I don't really like soloing TF2.
Yeah.
I can solo this for a really long time. And I don't care. And it's fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to the expansion, which got kickstarted successfully. And
sweet.
They met a couple of their stretch goalers as well, so there'll be an extra character than they originally planned and stuff like that. So, woo! Go that game. It's really good. I really need somehow to convince Zach to play it, because he just won't, because it's a MOBA.
You don't touch those.
No, don't want to. That one is one of them. That one's on the closer end of the scale.
It's the lightest of the MOBAs.
Well, it's not like an RTS MOBA. That's the important.
Yeah, it has proper direct control rather than.
So it's getting there, but I just want to play Monday Night Combat again, but that's impossible now because of no servers.
Because no one plays it. It really sucks. It is kind of annoying.
Apparently, everyone on Steam is playing Dota 2, as in more than playing Counter-Strike and TF2 and everything else put together.
Yeah. That's the new thing.
Including John. Seems to play it before work, after work.
Yeah, we see that quite a lot pop up. It's I did wonder, after I got into Awesomenauts, it's should I go and play Dota 2 just to see what it's like? And then maybe that would be the end of me. But
right.
I'm not all that keen on just that control scheme, that RTS style control scheme. That just doesn't sound like I'm going to enjoy that.
Clicks per minute and all that.
Yeah. I forget what they're thinking about it, a MOBA that Zach might play. I forget what Uber are working on right now. It's that other
Total Annihilation thing.
Oh no, they're doing that as well.
Yeah,
Uber are involved in that, but they are working on another free to play shooter. That's kind of cartoony and kind of has some of the Brink level customization. I think we talked about it on the cast a real long time ago briefly. But and I'm wondering if that will have MOBA properties. I think that was more just a shooter, a bit more like Gotham Imposters kind of thing. But anyway, really love it. More people should play it.
I'd forgotten. I'm just checking out. There's this weird Google Easter egg if you Google Zerg Rush, and it gives you a clicks per minute count and stuff. Actions per minute. Yeah. Well, a load of Google O's from the Google logo, they Zerg rush the page and start attacking all the search results.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, check that one out.
So Hotline Miami.
Yes.
I ended up liking that, I think, more than I expected to.
Yeah, me too.
Because that aesthetic, good God.
It blows your mind and your eyes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's full on.
I just love
from
the way...
iFucker series.
Yeah, new from iFucker.
It's the way the whole thing sways whenever you move.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a bit more subtle, I think, than I expected again from your description. It's you can make it rest in the middle if you time it right.
Yeah.
It's and that kind of stuff. It is just sort of momentum-y.
Yeah.
But it is... Yeah, it's I think I sort of like it because of the aesthetic, not necessarily because of the gameplay.
Right.
I actually thought some elements of the gameplay are really great, but then I think as you start playing it enough, you start to figure out that actually in places this is kind of clunky and a bit unfair at times. And
I mean, the AI is just dreadful. I mean,
I don't think it would play better if it was clever.
No, probably not.
I think it would be worse. It's like little things like dogs aren't affected by doors, and sometimes the doors can really fuck you up. Especially if it just happens to flap back at just the wrong moment and then blocks your shot, and then the dude just whacks you in the face. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, the speed of it is insane.
It's insane,
and it's just there are some, and that is to its credit. It does make it more fun and more heart pounding, and that goes with the music, which is brilliant.
Really
has
great.
To be said. All of that music is fantastic, and it's
I mean, a little bit more variety wouldn't have hurt, but I mean, how much more?
But then again, the game only takes 3 hours to complete, so
yeah, exactly.
On your first playthrough, and then you have to do it the second time and get those puzzle pieces if you're going to go for the secret ending.
Yeah,
but which I haven't yet done. I've done a few levels in the second run, but I don't know how much longer that's going to hold me, to be honest. But yeah, it's hard to know what to say about it, really. There's the brutality of it, and I read some interesting things like after I played through it about people's reactions to the brutality, going, "Oh man, this is really cool! Look at all this!" And then there's everyone has one of the executions that they just don't get on with.
Yeah,
like I don't know. For me, it's like it's the neck slit.
Yeah,
it's like I've never been comfortable with that as a form
I hate
of death.
Neck stuff.
It's
neck
like
stuff is my least favorite.
It's horrible. It's always portrayed horribly.
Yeah,
and it's not. It's just the same here because it sort of happened. Your action in it is pretty quick, but then the body is like moving around and the spray is still flying. Like even when you're still like murdering other dudes around you.
There was a really grim bit of neck stuff that I saw coming in Breaking Bad at one point, and I was like, "Oh no, it's gonna happen." Yeah,
it was just
stuff.
And I don't know if this is almost certainly spoiler territory, but some of how you could interpret that game, like presumably you did the ending and then the more ending.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's like how you can interpret what that all means. Yeah, and like how it's weirdly different from how it played out as you and stuff like that, and how it's essentially it sounds like the interpretation I read that I think fits it best is that the game itself is another one of those satires of gaming.
Well, yeah, I mean that's definitely part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that is the only point to the story, really.
Yeah,
there is nothing else to that because otherwise it's just walking in the rooms and killing dudes.
I mean, it's cool how much story there is in just with like no dialogue. How like
it's very little, isn't it?
You wake up in your room and that girl that you rescued is just gradually. Making a home and stuff. Yeah,
story without.
Yeah, showing
without
rather
words,
than telling, isn't it?
Yeah,
which is cool. Anytime that games do that, showing stuff rather than telling. I mean, that's true in films as well, but that's one of the rules, isn't it? Show don't tell is one of the guidelines.
Well, where you can, yeah.
Where you can, but I mean, games have a kind of unique kind of advantage in doing that. The trouble is that you can miss it. But I mean that's your own fault, isn't it? Sometimes, but I mean it's hard to miss in Hotline Miami because it's like top down but in some
I mean there are some interesting achievements I think that are tied to some of that. Like one of them is just called Eye for Details, and it's like I don't really know what that means, but if you looked through the achievement list and saw that, you'd suddenly start paying attention to stuff. It's like, well, what details am I missing? What do I need to do? I still don't know what that one means, but probably. No, it can't be the secret ending.
Probably doesn't mean anything to do with that. It's probably like stabbing dude in the eye.
Yeah, probably. But then you don't have that control because it's all top down. Yeah. I don't know. So I found some of the level design a bit shitty, if I'm honest. Like too often stuff would happen off the screen.
Yeah,
that would kill you. So some dude
like
would
you
see
got
you.
Shot from
and you just see
from off the screen or something.
Yeah, that happened really frequently, and it's like on that level, it's like that's actually not that fun when that happens because you're like, oh fuck off. It's like, how was I supposed to know he was there? And occasionally the patterns are different as well, which kind of screws you over because like sometimes you'll kill some guys and you'll be fine, and next time you'll kill a guy and suddenly the dude just walks through the door right in front of you. It's like, oh shit.
I quite like that it's different. It's not the same every time.
I mean, it doesn't penalise you for failing in the middle of a run. It's like it's only I think it only scores you on your successful runs through each part of the level. So it is quite, forgiving in that respect. But some of those sections take quite a while to do because you have to be quite meticulous and quite planned and quite careful to do some of them well.
I spend ages because I would just stand outside a door trying to think what the hell to do for ages before I actually try and do it.
And then there are some levels where it's just like you start in a really awkward place. So as soon as you kill one dude, you're going to get a stream of other guys.
Yeah, sometimes
just come at you, and it's like, well, what the I can't like the room in the monster truck. That's all I'm saying. That bit was a bit shit. If I'm honest, you had to get quite lucky. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It's like, as I say, more than I thought it did. It was shorter than I expected, but it's probably about the right length.
Yeah, I think you could go overkill. They are making a sequel.
Yeah, this is where I'm a bit confused. It's like it's not one of those games that sounds like it really warrants a sequel.
It probably doesn't need a sequel, but I
don't know what they're going to do. Like, how does it differentiate itself?
Well, we'll see what they come up with. They already had a controversy over some of the stuff they've shown already, so they're obviously trying something.
Yeah, so interesting. But just play it for the style, man.
Yeah,
that end of level music when it's just like totting up your scores. That's the shit right there.
Yeah,
that's full on 80s.
Properly 80s.
And I love that. I love the music it plays in your house. It's so like fuzzy and weird, and the way the bass really cuts warped. Through everything.
Everything is like screwed up in the game. It's brilliant. Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, big fan.
If you're, So that was that, and then I just basically played some more Sonic Racing Transformed. I finished the I thought I'd finished the World Tour stuff, and then it reveals, there's a secret 6th event.
Naturally.
And it's like, here, go do some more stuff. Oh, and by the way, we've unlocked expert difficulty on everything you've done before. And it's like, oh shit.
That's basically what Mario Kart does.
Yeah, really. Well, I did it all on hard mode, so it's like I was playing at the hardest difficulty I could all the way through, and then it goes, oh yeah, by the way, now it's harder. It's like, I've got to do it all again.
Well, would you have unlocked the hardest difficulty if you hadn't been playing?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So then you end up with this Superstar Showdown section, which just has like harder bits, and there's another character to unlock. But I'm only 3 characters missing now. The last one I got was Gum from Jet Set Radio.
From Jet Set Radio?
Cool. Oh, cool. Yeah. It's a weird game in a way, because it's like the people that are likely to play this game are probably going to be parents buying them for kids. Yeah, and all these characters, well, Gum is one of the more likely characters they might know. Like really? Gilius from Golden Axe.
Right.
Well,
who's going to know that? Vise? Like, okay, Vise is kind of a known character, but how many people have actually played Skies of Arcadia? And
maybe they just think he's from all the other games he's started in for Sega.
Maybe. Yeah, he's just like the regular.
Yeah.
We don't know who the fuck he is, but he's in the wall. Joe Musashi?
Nope.
Shinobi. I think it's Shinobi.
Oh, really?
Yes, because for some reason that ninja's name is Joe.
Joe,
which is
Who's he? Is he the main character then?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
He's the white ninja.
I would recognise that dude as the dude from Shenmue, but I wouldn't.
Oh, what, Ryu Hazuki?
Yeah.
He's actually not playable this time, so... Well, as far as I know, he could be one of the remaining 3, but he shows up as a hologram. I know that, I think there's a track that just has, the holograms of the people that aren't in the game. So, Ryu's there. It's got an Afterburner cabinet for some reason.
That would be a great character.
The Bonanza brothers are there. It's
I presume because wasn't Shenmue, or was it Shenmue 2, really expensive to make? I imagine that,
both games are really expensive to make.
So they must have had records before GTA came along and blew them
probably.
out of the water.
Probably. It was the level of detail in the world had never been attempted before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it's the fact, opening drawers for no reason at all, and the hand, the properly modelled hand, that kind of stuff. It was crazy.
And the invention of QuickTime events. It's cheers for that.
Well, the popularization of it, probably.
Yeah, probably.
More apt. But they had a whole arcade machine in that game that was just called QuickTime Event. And it was nothing happened. There was no scene to it. It just put up button presses and you had to press them as quick as you could.
Awesome.
It's
training for the future of gaming, unfortunately.
Pretty much, yeah. They knew. I think they were training you for their own game, in fairness, but
yeah, sure.
But those things were cool, because you could fail them. That was the other thing. It's there aren't many quick times that you can actually fail, and something interesting with it. Some of them you could fail, and it would affect the story. That kind of stuff.
Which is really nerve-wracking. Especially if you know it's coming.
That was the thing, because it would just drop you in, and it would suddenly just go, and you're like, oh, what?
Fuck. Because it's really slow-paced otherwise, isn't it?
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like, holy shit, press these buttons really quick or you lose and die or something.
Yeah. It made those moments much more important.
Yeah.
And much more, you felt them more. So there's Gilius. Who else is there? There's like knights, I suppose. Fucking knights.
That's not unusual.
But
that might as well be the other senior character that guest stars and everything pretty much at this point.
Yeah. Trying to think who else. Oh, there's Space Channel 5, I suppose, is a regular, I guess, in these kind of things. But then they pull out Pudding, who's one of the other presenters from Space Channel 5, the second one.
Didn't Space Channel 5 get a Wii release? So I guess that.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it got re-released.
Did it get an XBLA release as well? I think it might have got an XBLA release.
Yeah, maybe.
As part of their Dreamcast thing.
I did Jet Set Radio, didn't I?
Yeah, eventually. But it's got BD Joe from Crazy Taxi, because Crazy Taxi is kind of aged now. Well, it's even the tracks they based up on. There's a Golden Axe track, and there's a Skies of Arcadia track, and there's a Shinobi track. And who the hell played Sonic 3? Who's alive? You know.
We did.
Yeah, I know. There's the Sky Sanctuary Zone, which may appeal to the players of Sonic Generations, maybe. But, you know.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, but it's cool that they took inspiration from everywhere rather than... They might have run out of stuff if they just modern Sega stuff. What would it have been, like Rogue Total War or something?
Well, that's there as well. There's a character. I think I mentioned this last time. They brought in a character from Rome 2, Willinus or something. So he's there, and they've also got a character from Shogun, Company of Heroes, and Shogun. Right. Shogun's there as well. Yeah, and Football Manager.
Company of Heroes.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Relic got bought.
They bought them. Yeah.
Cool.
And for some reason, Wreck-It Ralph and Danica Patrick, but you know. Those are the what the fuck moments.
Okay.
I still really love it. I think it's great.
Great.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Let's talk Civ 5.
Yes. Civilization 5.
To actually talk about, I guess.
Yeah. So Zach,
what's going on? Did you buy it then, or?
Well, no, Zach had a spare copy of it. Yeah, because he pre-ordered XCOM.
That's right.
So he lobbed it my way. And
then we never played it.
And then we didn't play it for ages. So then Zach came up with the idea, why don't we try it in multiplayer? Let's see how this works. And
what?
It actually does, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, we were playing against each other. We've sort of had an ally rule. So
the first time we tried it, we were on the same team, and that actually is weird, because it's like
you share research.
Yeah, it's like you share research, but all it does is makes all the research take twice as long. So if you're both working on the same thing, it finishes in the normal amount of time, which is that's kind of weird and dumb.
So it sort of balances it out, so you can have like asymmetric teams, basically.
Right.
But you still have an advantage of being in a team of two people over one person, because you start with more stuff, and you don't share gold. You don't share.
So you must have to initially always research the same thing just so you can get up to speed on a few basic stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
kind of.
It took us a while to notice it. To be honest, a couple.
It doesn't matter anyway in Civ 5, because it's not like you have to do everything eventually anyway. It's not like Alpha Centauri where there was a bit more. I mean, the tree was sort of hidden in Alpha Centauri, but you could go a lot further down. Like, if you just set your research priorities to only military, then you'd only get military for quite a long time before it was like, well, we can't actually go any further without getting some other technologies to cross into the military tree.
Right.
Whereas in Civ 5, it's like you almost don't have any choice. You just have to do whatever the lowest one is.
There's a lot of sections where it says, oh, you need 3 of these last technologies to move forward. And it's... so you're kind of squeezed into that, so it's not so much of a problem. But that game's pretty good. It's simpler than I remember it.
You don't remember it.
Well, I remember Civ 2. That's about as far so yeah, it's going to be like blurry vision, but there are certain elements that I feel simpler to me. Maybe I'm just smarter now. I don't know.
Well, there is some stuff that's simpler, obviously.
But I'm still shit at it, is the thing.
Well, apparently.
Yeah, because
once we started a game where we weren't on the same team. Although that might have just been random. You might have just gotten
Well, yeah, in this game I got stuck with... I was on an island all to myself, which was nice. But there was a shit ton of barbarian camps. Like 5 of them? Some crazy number that I had to deal with, and they kept coming at me. So it's like I had to basically focus my efforts on just defending myself. So I wasn't really building stuff to progress my cities.
Yeah.
I just built dudes basically to try and take out these guys, and I think that really hampered me. Even though I went down the social policy tree of like where killing barbarians like gives you money and stuff like that, it's like I still ended up in a bit of a slow position after a while. Once I dealt with the barbarians and then look at the leaderboard and it's like, okay, I'm doing all right. A few turns later, everyone's sort of caught up, and it's like, and now I'm in real shit. It's I don't have a lot of science. I don't have a lot of resources. And there are people invading my continent now, like bastards. America and the Russians have turned up, and then the Americans and the Russians decided they didn't like each other,
but didn't actually start fighting, which would have been more convenient.
Yeah, so they may have a fight on my island. It's my fucking. This is Japan. I'm playing as the Japanese. Like I had Japan.
That was quite a big island, though. Really,
Jumbo Japan.
Yeah.
Japan and New Zealand had a baby. Fat baby.
So with Zach getting it easier then.
Yeah, I can't remember what I had a continent which had one other civ on it.
Right.
But because I had much less problem with barbarians, I got a settler out pretty early and just built a city to basically block them off.
Okay.
Because you can, once I built the city, because you can spend gold to buy tiles. Yeah. I just bought all the tiles across the width of the continent, so they couldn't send any units past to colonize the rest of my island. Although eventually, before I managed to build my last one or two cities, they managed to develop the technology to go in the sea and skirted around that.
Okay,
but that was fine. I didn't want that one city anyway. I was already too big as it was. So I'm doing better. I've just got a nice little strip of land with some moderately decent terrain on it.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're miles apart from each other. I still haven't seen much of the rest of the map, where Zach's gone all naval and there's...
Well, it's because I'm playing English and they get massive bonuses to naval.
So he's gone exploring crazy early. I've barely got the ability to build boats, so it's like I think I've got some now if I really want to. But it's like, I should be building like wonders and things, but I'm all the time going, yeah, but my everyone is unhappy. I'm losing shit tons of money. I need to sort out my internal problems before I can do anything interesting.
Well, there's not much you can do about happiness without having money. That's
the problem. It took me ages to get to a state where I'm sort of positive, because I kind of had to just fuck money for a while. I'm just going to have to build stuff and get everything up. And then eventually you get to a point where it's like, oh, I can actually now increase my money.
Yeah, you shouldn't care about happiness is the real...
But happiness directly affects production.
No, happiness directly affects population growth.
Does it? I thought your production rate goes down if people aren't happy.
No. Or at least I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It's like happiness is only real effect... Well, unless it's super unhappy. Unless you're I think there's another state beyond just unhappy into a lot of unhappy.
Riots. But that's the problem. I'm not growing as fast as anyone else anyway, so I kind of need happiness perhaps to catch up.
Well, maybe, but I think it's the main problem that I think is the weird part of Civ 5 that maybe people don't get as quickly is you really have to lose the old Civ idea of building everything, because there's really no reason to build a whole lot of the city upgrades for most of the time. It's unless you're actually because they all have. That's where all the money goes. Is because all the buildings that you build in the city have maintenance. So if you can just not build them, then you might as well not build them, because it's like when you've got, for example, the stables, where it's it gives you +1 production for every tile of horses you're working. That's probably not even worth building if you've only got one tile of horses, because that's just you're spending 1 gold to get 1 production. And that's barely.
I have done that in one of my towns. In Kyoto, I have pretty much built everything, because it took me ages to get currency.
Right.
And it's and you need currency to be able to swap the town. And I don't really want to be making units in that town. It's I just want to swap it to wealth mode.
I think in that case you want to use the city window to actually move change it to gold focus or something.
Oh, I have, yeah.
And then
I'm on gold focus.
And then maybe even start moving citizens onto if you have, I guess before you have currency you don't have the option to have specialists to get citizens off the land. But yeah, it's like that's what you need to be able to. Because up until the point where you have wealth, there's nothing you can build that isn't going to cost you money.
Yeah,
you're either building buildings that have maintenance or units that have maintenance.
Yeah, yeah. So that was perhaps I should gun for that a lot quicker. I don't know.
Well, or yeah, it's just
and I've been screwed over slightly because the Americans came in and nicked my iron, so I can't even make the fucking samurai that I'm supposed to be able to. Because I'm like, I'm fucking Japan, and I can't make samurais because I have no fucking iron.
No, I only got one bit of iron, and then I was friends with a city state who were giving me units that used up all my iron, so I couldn't even go and give that to Rob. And so I want to disband all my military.
So yeah, I think I've been dealt a pretty bad hand. But I also believe that I'm also quite shit. So there's obviously some technique to doing well, but I just don't know what that is.
Right.
And I'm not sure the game really communicates what it is that I need to do in order to be good.
Maybe.
There are some concessions to that, because the multiplayer does hide like all of the tips.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not getting any of the pop-ups to say, hey, you should do this, or I could go check the advisor panel maybe
yeah.
But I don't know how useful they are.
Not very.
Okay.
They're always the advisor panel typically has the classic problem where it's just like the military advisor guy always wants you to build more units because he's the military guy.
Well, that's true in real life.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I should just play a single player game of it at some point. Learn the ropes. But even then, I did briefly start a single player game. But even like in the first 15 minutes or so, I had that feeling of this isn't going well. So I don't know. Maybe I need to knock it back a difficulty, learn the ropes. Maybe.
I always found the trick to Civ. Well, I probably had it on normal mode or whatever, but it was if you get an early victory over your nearest neighbor, that was the key to the whole thing for me, because you get.
It doesn't really work so easily like that in Civ 5 any longer.
Taking out cities is pretty tough.
Yeah, because of the cities acting basically as a unit,
right? Okay.
And having their own defense, their own counterattack capability and everything.
Okay,
you can't just walk in. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You almost need to have got to the stage where you have iron before you can attack cities, because once you get iron you can build catapults, which is basically the only decent way to take out cities' health very quickly, unless you build a shit ton of archers.
So can you rush to catapults and then take your neighbour and then go from there?
Yeah, maybe, but that's still not a very quick rush.
So this is the other thing I considered, is should I start a fight with America and Russia and get them off my island? But then I think I must be quite underleveled compared to them, so they just counterattack and whoop me.
Yeah, probably. Well, they might not be able to take your cities, because that's they're on a separate continent from their home base, so that comes with inherent penalties, and they'd have to transport units across the water or pay money.
There's a continent problem, is there, for that? Or?
Well, I'm not sure how much of a penalty it actually is in this game, as much as it used to be, but there's definitely there's the trade route penalty, obviously.
Yeah.
but just by having that many cities that they're extending onto new continents, that in itself is sort of a penalty because of the happiness problem. But also, they won't be able to build units very fast on your island, even if they were buying them with money.
True. They'd have to ship them in.
But it's risky.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Not the man for Civ advice, but it does sound fun. I'm always tempted by Civ 5, especially with all the updates.
It is quite interesting playing it in this way, I think. It's quite nice.
So do you have to wait for the other guy to take his turn?
No, they have a hybrid turn mode, which is kind of cool. So it everyone plays simultaneously, which basically means the computer does all its moves at the start of a turn.
Or the end, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. Leaving that middle zone for us to do stuff, and Zach and I can play at the same time.
Right.
And then I think the idea behind it, why it describes it as hybrid mode, because I think if two players start to have a fight with each other, it drops it back into turn-based mode.
Yeah.
For them, at least.
Can you sever your alliance with Zach? Or?
I don't think we're probably allied.
Well, it's like you says. Yeah, we could. It's a bit weird because I wanted to be able to share my map with Rob, and I don't think there's any way to do that.
Right.
Because it's I don't think we're in a proper defensive alliance. And I'm not sure whether that would share the map, but just being friends doesn't do it, and there doesn't seem to be an individual trade. There's not a trade option to share map like there used to be.
Right,
it's kind of weird.
See the internals of my island.
Yeah.
Cool.
I quite like it. I do quite like it. As I say, it does feel a bit simpler. I think some of the differences from the old game are for the best. I have some control problems. Like, I'm not sure the right-click drag thing is so great. It's like, especially if you're doing that and then something happens in the hybrid mode that then steals focus.
Yeah.
And you've still got the right-click thing selected at that point. It's like, oh shit, how do I get out of this? You can't push escape because that brings up the escape menu, but doesn't get rid of your right-click status. So I then have to sort of somehow move the map back to where I was and just put the move marker back over the character to just get out of that condition.
And not move,
hopefully wait for the fighting to be finished and then do my moves. It's so it's a bit awkward like that at times. And the interface catches me out at times because I'm kind of was going into it expecting big windows to pop up for things. Like for the city view and stuff would be that panel that used to come up, but no, it's just sidebars and stuff now.
Wow, it's because the city view isn't an actual city view; it's just the game map with a little more information.
Yeah, it's a different overlay, really. So it's there were certain things that caught me off guard for a while. And it's just okay, where's this? Where's that?
Well, the main problem with the city view is stuff that you probably actually want starts minimized, controlling whether your city's on food or production focus. That whole panel just starts minimized, and if you didn't know to go look for it, you might not know that.
I didn't until you told me.
Yeah, exactly. Controlling that stuff is kind of important.
Mm.
Yeah, so perhaps some UI niggles, but it's kind of fun, and it's surprising. It makes me think that perhaps I shouldn't have been so hard on Civ Rev because it's actually somewhat
similar.
Yeah, there isn't actually that much that's missing when I really think about it. The social policy stuff is missing.
It sounds like you should have been hard on Civ Rev and hard on Civ 5 because
maybe. What, do you not like Civ 5?
No, it's fine. It's just exactly the same thing happened with Civ 4 where it's
oh, what, you mean the update thing?
Well, yeah, that, and in Civ 5 they actually did sort of dumb it down more and then didn't add anything to sort of balance it in that way.
Civ 5 is basically Civ Rev for PC, is what you're saying?
Well, not what I'm saying.
Sort of, okay.
I did play Civ Rev, so I actually know.
I think it is quite a bit more complex than Civ Rev, isn't it?
Yeah.
Civ 5, well, yeah, but it takes a lot of the ideas, doesn't it?
But yeah, it's you don't have happiness in Rev, and you don't have, you don't have the social policies to deal with. It's science and military, and that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Zach, you got 3 minutes.
Yep,
sorry.
I haven't got the time. I can't see the time. I thought we were on unlimited on these.
No, I for some reason fired up Goldway rather than Audacity today.
Yep, for some reason.
Oh shit! Okay.
So never mind. 3 minutes to talk about. Well, I guess there's not much to talk about. It's when there's Guild Wars, they updated the Super Adventure Box, and all I have to say about that is remember when the Super Adventure Box was fun? Because it's not any longer. It's the first one of the Super Adventure Box was quite a casual, easy, there was some difficult jumps in the jumping puzzle-ness, but it was the combat wasn't anything, and I guess it's still not really in the newer levels. But in the World 2 of Super Adventure Box, everything is unnecessarily difficult. All the jumping is well, I think the main problem is especially in World 2,
yeah,
that whole level is basically every jump is over a death bit, so if you screw up, you just die.
Oh, great.
It's that's not fun any longer. And then in World 2-3, there's a lot of sections of that where it's you're jumping on ledges that are several pixels wide, and it's that's not really. That's just almost a glitch. It's just the dumb way Guild Wars registers whether you're standing on something or not. You can jump up this ledge, and it just looks really dumb because they're basically exploiting the stupid way their physics works.
Yeah.
And it's not actually cool any longer. It's just annoying. And also, all the levels in World 2 are unnecessarily long, where it's just takes fucking hours to get through some of them. And you can't quit midway through. I mean, there's checkpoints in case you die, but you can't quit out of the game and come back later, because it just drops you back in the hub. So yeah, new Super Adventure Box is just not fun any longer. So I'm probably not going to get all the achievements for that. And then the other thing that I guess I'm just going to talk about very quickly, because I haven't really played anything else. I played some XCOM.
Yeah.
Because...
You did?
Yeah, I started a marathon game, which, as it turns out, they didn't balance very well. Because marathon just makes... It's the game is going to take longer, so you do more fighting before... Okay. Basically, research takes twice as long, that sort of stuff.
Right.
The trouble is, they made stuff like research take twice as long, but they didn't make you level up slower and like at the end of the month people will still leave, but because everything takes twice as long to build, you can't build stuff as fast, so people are going to leave. Because it's like building a satellite uplink takes 28 days.
Yep.
So if you don't have the satellite capacity you need well in advance, you're basically fucked.
That sounds really a pain.
Yeah, so they didn't really balance that very well. And then the last thing, oh shit, we're out of time. 30 seconds. Well, the last thing I wanted to talk about was I put in Sonic Rush Adventure, and that game is definitely better than Sonic Generations on the 3DS.
Proven.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Proven. There's like so few death bits comparatively, as it turns out. There's some levels in Rush Adventure where there's no death bits at all that I can find, even if you go the shittest of shit routes.
Wrap it up, Dan. 10 seconds.
Okay, thanks for joining us. There'll be more GTA and various other things next time, and I'll probably leave it to Rob to say bye because he can actually see the thing.